Hi, everybody. Happy Saturday. I hope everybody's doing okay out there. It's storming crazy here. I want to welcome my guest tonight, Mr. Nick Valente. Nick is the director of Region 3 of the North American Dogman Project. He's also the director of the International Dogman Project, and he's been investigating anomalous phenomena, a researcher, and a cryptid field investigator for over 23 years. Thank you, Nick, for coming. I really appreciate you spending some time with us tonight.
Oh, you're welcome, Marty. I really appreciate you having me.
Do you want to get into this fresh investigation you just came off of today, or you have to wait on that?
Well, I should wait on it to write it up, but where the investigation was approximately just under 5 miles from where I live in New Jersey. At this point, I received 7 different reports of a two-legged, bipedal, as they call it, canine of approximately 7 feet tall, dark hair, wolf-like snout, in an area, like I said, that was about under 5 miles from where I live. And this started not this week, but previously, last week, because I was in the same area last week with the team. And just like last week, this week, it again was pouring rain. I mean, buckets. We had dime-sized rain out there, but it doesn't stop a field investigation. We're not sunshine warriors here or investigators. We go out no matter what, because if the evidence is there to collect, the evidence is there to collect. And someone today called up and said they had a sighting this morning. So gathered the team. We were going to go out there anyway. We just went out there a few hours earlier because the young lady said, I saw it again. And she met us at the spot.
Wow.
And sure enough, we were able to find footprints. But as I was telling you before we started the show, unfortunately, the rain being almost dime size out there, and I mean, it's still pouring. I mean, I can hear it from where I am now in my office. It destroyed the footprints. However, the print was a little bit over 12 inches long, about 8 inches wide. But then again, that could be due to if the creature was running, it could have expanded it a bit. I couldn't tell if there was nails, claws,
Mm-hmm.
because of the rain. I mean, it just destroyed the print. But like I told you, a normal man who's about 200 pounds, his imprint in dirt will be approximately a quarter of an inch. I think this creature was in the 7 to close to 800-pound range, because it was quite a bit more than a quarter of an inch. It was more like 2.25 inches, maybe a little bit shy of that. I don't know, because of putting a ruler in there when it was just totally full of water. Everything was just full of water, messed up all the prints. We did find a claw print on the tree, and we had another claw print that was different from last week's. That was a little bit more up the tree. So one on the left, one on the right, and then it was gone. Whatever it was gone. It wasn't a black bear. That's what we have in New Jersey, black bear. And a black bear's hand is about the size of my hand when I go like this. So anybody that looks at their own hand and they crab their fingers, they'll see that's about the size of a black bear. And as I was mentioning to you, I really wish people would go to the zoo, not only to support the zoos, and keep them open, because once those animals are gone, they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
But to see what they look like, up close and in person. I've actually gotten to see black bear, brown bear, grizzly, not polar bear yet, but boy, someday I'd like to go to Alaska, maybe later on this year, with my Region 2 friend and director, D.A. Roberts. We're planning a trip out there. There's a town out there that was terrorized by Sasquatch many, many, many years ago, and we want to go there, right to that town. And since it's in the United States, we could just take a boat straight over, no problems. So it's just like traveling from one state to the next. But getting back to this investigation, yeah, there was more new claw marks that we were able to see. the footprints, there was a lot of them, but they're all destroyed. And I'm kind of concerned, what's going on. And I figured that they'll probably have a dogman situation there because they're building townhouses in that area, very close to that area. They shredded some forest area, and they just threw up these townhouses, and they're still working. But when you do that, you take the water source away from a cryptid, even regular animals. You take the food sources away, meaning deer, rabbits, squirrels, and whatnot, away from them, because you're destroying all that forest land.
Right.
And you're taking burrow area where they may have burrowed in. Now, dogman generally will live in a burrow that they create. They'll live in a cave that they find, or to live in man-made tunnels that are no longer in use. At least 3 of those things. They're kind of a little bit too large to live in trees, but I believe they use trees as a means of transportation, getting here and there, as opposed to a Sasquatch, and we can get into that sometime too. But I think they use a different means of getting out of the way and playing hide and seek with us.
So, what do you? I know we talked a little bit about this backstage, but I really want to get this point across. We were talking about how you go out, and you go out with 7 guys. I mean, you got a team. You have a team, trained team.
A trained team of 7, total of 7 people. I'm one of the 7. And that's how I prefer it, because of the fact that it's dangerous when you go out into a forest area. I mean, we have GPS locator units. They're only about this big, and they have a tiny stubby antenna. But if you get lost or separated, and anybody that's watched the 411 cases on television, and there's a lot of different programs, they know that there's some people that have never been found. And, that's the reason why we carry those GPS locators. And I would recommend, I know they're expensive. I know you've got to get a monthly subscription, but if you're really dedicated to doing that, going out into the field and doing field investigations, I would really recommend that you take some defensive precautions. I mean, you're going into a forest. You don't usually live there. You may or may not be a hunter, but that doesn't even matter. I mean, you may not have the skills for long-term survival in a forest area. And you're going in a forest area, and you do have a right to come home. Now, we're a no-kill organization. However, if I'm attacked, I'm going to use everything that I carry with me in order to get home, because that's my right. I'm not attacking anything out there. We're not hunting. We're not shooting at things. We're not setting traps either. We're investigating things. And we do have a right to come home. And yes, I travel generally with a 7-man team. One time I did go out at the bequest of Jody Cook, the founder of the North American Dogman Project. But there was a lady that kept calling him and text messaging him. And she also spoke with me just over the border, New York into upstate. From the border from New Jersey into New York, going upstate more. She said she was having a dogman problem, and it turned out it was not a dogman problem. It was a Sasquatch problem. And she was being terrorized with them all night.
Was it a Sasquatch that had that look of a dogman, do you think? And did you describe it that way, or?
No, she never got a full good look. She took pictures from a distance, and it was to the back of her backyard. Now, granted, she did use we call that a single lens reflex camera, a DLR, I guess they would call it, a reflex camera. And she did have a nice lens on it, didn't have a zoom, but she took a picture of her backyard. Now, her property is oh God, how can I explain to you? It's a total of 125 feet left to right. And then the front yard, which is the highway, it starts at the highway and goes all the way to her The back of her house, about 25 feet, is another 125 feet. And then there's another 100 feet going back to the rear of her property where it ends. And she's had it, all the trees cut down and mowed beautifully every week. I mean, the trees have been cut down once, but she's had it mowed. Now, to the back of her property were, it's just a large forest area. And she saw black figures at the back of her house, and she heard a lot of noise and things being thrown on this particular night that I'm speaking about. And she grabbed her camera from her bedroom, ran to the back kitchen. Her kitchen faces the rear, and she's taking pictures. And what she did, she wound up with pictures of eye shine right at the edge of the forest area where it touches her property. All right, Marty, this is the big part now. The eye shine, I find out later when I arrived there, I didn't have a full team to go there. They were out on another field investigation. And I only had 2 guys that were left over. So 3 of us went. But Jody says, please, please, please get to this lady's, house and help her out if you can. I went with 3 of us, and I never liked doing that. Yes, we were armed. Yes, we were fully, suited up and everything. But still, it's 3, and you can't cover everything. And like I tell everybody, when you go in a forest, or even when you're walking in a city or in a mall, look up. Okay, look up, because you never know what's up there. If you're down in the Southwest, it's more common. You'll have a mountain lion in a tree. Excuse me. Long day outside, and I think I'm dehydrated at this point, even though I got totally soaked. So with 3 people, you can, look up and forward and on the ground and here and there. But you got to remember what's out there in a forest. You have snakes, deadly snakes that can bite you. You got spiders that, even though they can't kill you, they can harm you.
Mm-hmm.
You have coyote out there that will attack humans. Wolves do not generally attack humans, but the coyotes will come after you. But getting back to this lady, we're back there. I looked at the pictures. She had them. She brought it to her computer. She put them on 8x10s. And what I could see was eye shine. Now, she took several pictures. It was near a particular tree. This tree in particular had no branches. Now, people are going to say, oh, it had a branch, and that was an owl, or maybe it was a possum, the eye shine. No. This thing was about 4 feet. The head was 4 feet away from the tree that she took the picture of.
Mm-hmm.
I located the exact tree she told me, and that she showed me in the pictures. And we went to that tree. We ran a tape measure up that tree. The eye shine was approximately 15 feet off the ground. I joke you not. No kidding. Now
That's a big boy.
That's a 15 plus foot Sasquatch.
Yeah.
I later on told her you do not have a dogman problem. Plus the other things that she told us. But I want to finish this part. I looked at the pictures, and she had taken about a good dozen pictures, and it had moved. No branches where an owl can perch or a possum or something else can perch on. Nothing like that. Right where she had taken the pictures is where we went to. Now it's 4 feet away from the tree. You could see the double eye shine. I'm thinking this thing's 15 plus feet tall. It's probably 2,000, maybe 2,500, possibly 3,000 pounds. This is not something I want to play with. Not with a 3-man team, and not with 308 rifles and 10 millimeter Glocks, which is all good and fine for bears and maybe dogman, but I'm not going to play around with a 3,000 pound cryptid. Now I know I didn't come out here to talk about Sasquatch, but we went.
You can talk about whatever you want to talk about here.
Okay.
We love everything.
Well, we originally went out for a dogman call, but it wasn't there, thank God, when we got out there. But we did do a measurement. Now, mind you, we got there at about a little bit after 1 o'clock in the morning, because that's when the calls started going to Jody Cook, and Jody called me up, took us 2.5 hours to get to her place. We went into the backyard after speaking to her, looking at the pictures, and I figured we also brought coffee cans full of cayenne pepper, red pepper, and we started spreading it around her windowsills, around her rear deck, the front of her porch area, and everything. Something I wanted to mention is that night, it was really the first time that she went and saw all the damage that they did, but they damaged her back deck area. And before that, previously, she comes home from her mom and dad's house. She had been taking care of them for a few days. And she noticed that her garbage area, which her father, many years before that, had sunk into the earth, approximately 42 inches now, because the frost line in New York is 42 inches. He sunk 4x4s in next to her house to create a fenced-in area for her garbage cans. To that fenced-in, to those 4x4s, he fenced it in with some thick metal fencing, and he put it over the top also, so that any animals in the area couldn't get into her garbage and throw it all over the place, because she was having that problem. Now, a possum or a raccoon especially, they're very smart. Marty, they can open up garbage cans. Believe me.
I've seen it, so I know.
I live in New Jersey, and it's unbelievable. I had a metal garbage can, and I put rocks on top of it, and this raccoon went over there and just shoved them off and popped up my garbage can and threw the garbage all over. So I wound up locking it down with chains. They're smart. But anyway, her dad did her good. But she had, let me back up a little bit to some information she gave us. While she's showing us the pictures, she's going, yeah, I don't understand it. I'm always so friendly to them. I don't know why they ripped everything apart. And I go, what do you mean you're always so friendly to them? You play with them?
What does that mean?
Yeah. She goes, oh, well, the stump all the way at the back of my property? There was a tree that was cut down, and they left about 3 feet of it. They didn't take the stump out. They just left it cut. She would put apples on it, and every day the apples would be gone. She did this every day. Every day, at least 2 or 3 apples. She had to go take care of her mom and dad, who were both sick, and she was away for 4 days. She didn't do it for 4 days. And you'd never gift a Sasquatch. A dog man can't give two about it. They're more into deer and stuff. If you want to give a gift to a Sasquatch, you might leave a rock or a shiny stone or a shiny piece of metal. That's fine. But you leave them food, forget it. You do not do something like this. Any Sasquatch, Bigfoot, if you want to call them, researcher will tell you, you do not gift food to a Sasquatch. And the biggest mistake would be to give a Sasquatch like a Snickers bar or something like that. That's like giving a 3-year-old a half a pound of sugar in a cup of coffee. They'll be bouncing off the walls. But her mistake was not gifting them still the continuous gifting of food. And she should have never started that in the first place.
Were you guys able to solve her issue?
Well, like I said, I had a total of 4 cans. I think we used almost all 4 cans of cayenne red pepper. We put that all over the place, even into her backyard further. And I told her, I says, we have it on your porch, your deck. She didn't have any animals, so she didn't have to worry about that. To this day, I haven't heard from her again. Well, I checked in on her about 5 days later, nothing. But what we did that night was we continued, because I had a very high lumen spotlight, and I spotted in the distance something red. It looked like a garage to me, and it turned out to be an old barn, a small old barn. And it was way, 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 not on her property, but way, way back in there into that property. So I figured that we would go out to there and see if maybe there was something hiding in that, because that was the only building I could see around. Mm-hmm. Her neighbors were pretty far away from her to the right and the left. And she did that, like I said, on a major road. So we continued looking around, searching. And Out of nowhere comes uh, approximately an 8-foot log, about 10, 12 inches around, and it comes flying towards us. It landed towards us, and it's pitch dark. It's after 1 o'clock in the morning. One of my guys, even though he's not a stumblebug or anything, didn't see it at all and tripped over it. And he went down in the brush and in all the mishmash of twigs and everything, and he really hurt his knee. Hurt it so bad that my other guy took up a security position. I splinted his knee with some sticks that we had there because we always carry first aid packs with us.
Mm-hmm.
I splinted him up and we got him out of there and we put him into the truck and we took off. I spoke to her and I told her what we did with the red pepper powder, and I told her, you don't have a dogman problem, so please don't fear that. You do have a Sasquatch back there someplace. The next morning, I called up my very good friend, Jeremiah Fountain, and he is a Bigfoot researcher, and he has his research team in the, hopefully I'm pronouncing this right, the Adirondacks, New York. It's all the way up New York State near Canada, and he has a team up there, and I gave him her telephone number, her name. I even gave her his name and his number. I said, he will be contacting you, and he's got a team that deal with Sasquatch more so than I do. I deal more so with Dogman, and they might even be able to give you even more help. But I left it up to them and his team to take it from there. But we did our best. We did put out the red pepper powder, and I'm just hoping that would have kept them away. And like I said, I called her 4 days later. She was fine.
Yeah.
What else was happening?
Well, what kind of criteria do you look for in a report that convinces you that it definitely warrants further investigation? What criteria do you look for?
Well, let me start off by saying this. I get anywhere from 15 to 45 calls, emails, text messages, and whatnot, communications a week
Mm-hmm.
from people telling me about encounters or sightings. But they don't always say, oh, we need help out here. It's just something I document, and I've got several notebooks full of the documented places where people have said that they've had a sighting or an encounter. Now, recently is last month, we went to the Poconos, but the upper Poconos area, out of the vacationing area in Pennsylvania. Now, the criteria here was two separate individuals. Well, first I want to explain, it was two separate couples and then two separate people. So we're talking about four total sources. One source was a couple, and the other source was an individual who said that they saw a dogman in the area, and it was the exact same area as the other people told me about. A day goes by, and another individual calls me, and she's telling me she's on her way home from work. She works the middle shift, and she saw a large bipedal canine crossing the road right at this T intersection that the other two sources told me. I'll call them sources instead of people because they're two couples and two singles. Then I get, at the end of that day, another couple that calls up and they say, we've seen you on YouTube and we know you work for the North American Dogman Project. We just want to report this to you because this was dangerous. You know, my husband and I were coming home from shopping, going back to our place of work, and their home was just down the road from their place of work. They lived on a cul-de-sac, and their shop was on the cul-de-sac too, but up further from where they are. And there's very few homes there. What sparked me into getting a team together to go investigate this is because the lady and her husband were driving home. He was driving, and she's tapping him saying, there is an animal running right outside my window. And he looks over and he sees a bipedal animal, a large one, running alongside the car. His reaction is, hit it.
Oh my gosh.
Now, these individuals run a body shop, a very well-known body shop up there. Hopefully, I don't ruin their business because a lot of people don't like to come forward, Marty, and talk about
Yeah.
things because they'll either be looked upon and ridiculed, and made fun of. They may not get a promotion because who wants to promote a lunatic? They may not get a job, or whatnot, whatever. I can't imagine that in this day and age. But then again, I deal with this all the time. In any case, this animal was running on 2 feet, not four. And as he hit it, this thing is keeping pace. And he's getting up to 40 miles an hour and it's keeping pace. And she's saying, move, move. This animal reached out and got the side of the car, her side of the car, the passenger side, with
Wow.
claw marks. The husband must have really juiced it or whatever because he really took off, and they were doing about 85 miles an hour down the same road that the other three sources reported seeing this bipedal creature. Now he knew he had to stop sooner or later because he had to make a right or a left turn because it came to a T intersection. And he did slow up. He made the right turn so that they can go back to their home. First, they were going to the body shop because he wanted to pick up a couple of firearms from there, heavier power firearms. I think he only had 223. I think he had 30-06 over there at the shop because Pennsylvania, after all, has black bear, and that's why he had it just in case something might mess with, he and his wife and the workers over there. But that's what they told me. They said on the way, and they had scratched it. Now they took pictures of it. They did do the body work. They repaired the car because they did not want to remember this at all.
Sure.
So this is how, to answer your question, this is how I make the criteria. If I get one report and it's really serious, I will speak to the person either in person or on the phone or like we're doing right now. I'd rather look at the person while I'm speaking to them. And I will interview them. And some people will call it, an interrogation, but it's actually an interview. Coming from my background, I know how to do an interview and an interrogation. And I'm sorry, but some of it,
It's important.
some of it melts into each other. I don't want somebody to tell me something just to, and acting really sincere and they're just BSing at me because a lot of times that does happen out there. And that's what really ruins the credibility of cryptozoology. I mean, I learned about this. I took 2 full courses, and they were from out of the country, 2 full diploma courses on cryptozoology. And both courses, even though they were independent schools, they all mentioned that too. It's not an exact science, as we were saying. It takes patience, a lot of patience, to find these, what we now call cryptids, because they've been seen, but they're not proven by science to exist. Well, if it was that easy, the panda bear wouldn't have taken 65 years to be discovered from the time it was first seen to the time they captured one and took it to a zoo in New York. It took them 65 years.
Yeah.
And, granted, Dogman has been around for a long time. It's been seen in Europe. It's been seen in the United States since the late 1700s. I think the first recorded incident of a dogman was by some Michigan loggers. These 2 loggers were left by the company to finish up a certain area while the rest of the company moved the equipment on. And the one logger, for some reason, walked away from his partner. I don't remember exactly what he was doing, but he saw a bipedal wolf-like creature that was well over 6.5 feet tall, according to the reports. This is back in the 1787, I believe. And he took a shot at it. And his partner came running up with his gun. Now, mind you, these loggers, they had guns in those days. They all carried them. They all carried axes and knives and stuff. And they see something that's going to spook them, they're going to fire on them. So that was like one of the first reports. But even before that, our Native American Indians had reports. And I don't mean just 1 or 2 tribes. I mean every tribe had reported something that spoke of a bipedal wolf-like creature. And now I do field investigation. That's my first love, being out there on a field investigation. But I read books on cryptozoology and history, uh, and zoology, of course, because I'm still doing my master's course in zoology. Uh, I also read newspaper reports from old libraries, and I encourage people, when you travel, go to the little old bookstores, go to the little old libraries, ask for the microfiche, and look into their newspaper reports from the 17 and 1800s, even the early 1900s. You'll find reports of thunderbirds.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find reports of Sasquatch type beings out there. You'll find reports of skinwalkers and dogmen. Now, to get back to the Native American Indians, what I found in my research is that dogmen have been reported as being the guardians, you might say, of graveyards, Native American Indian graveyards, because the Native Americans, I don't know if you know this, but they're buried with precious jewelry,
Mm-hmm.
precious stones, gold, silver, and the whatnot. They're buried with that, and you have insidious people out there who will dig up graves and grave rob. So, you
Yeah.
know, I mean, that's the lore that's been passed on, but not just one or two or three tribes have said this. Every tribe that I've been able to look up has some sort of a mention of a dog man. And just to mention real quick, down in the Great Southwest where they had the Thunderbirds, they have pictures of them uh, in caves on the sides of mountains, on
Mm-hmm.
etched in wood. I'm sorry, etched in the stone on the sides of the mountains, uh, of pictures of thunderbirds. And the Native Americans are not afraid of the thunderbirds. Well, I guess we're more of afraid of them if we ever saw them because of what they're supposedly able to do. But like the thunder from the thunderbirds, they say is the flapping of their wings, they feel that the thunderbirds are the protectors and they protect
Mm-hmm.
from evil. And that's what's in Native American lore, or actually, I'd like to say history, because they've all said that. Any kind of written record that we have of it. Now, I do have to preface it with, I've traveled north, south, east, and west in the United States. I've traveled into Mexico on my cryptozoology field investigations. I've been into Canada looking for Sasquatch. And while I've been in the Southwest, I've tried to talk to Native Americans. Nobody would talk with me.
Mm.
I'm
Yeah, they're pretty close-lipped over there.
born in Switzerland, but I'm from Italian parents, and they can tell the difference that I'm not a Native American, even though I do have a darker skin. They will not talk to white eyes, as they call us,
No,
uh, and
they
they
will not.
especially will not talk about
They
uh,
will not.
or skinwalker, because you talk about a
Mhm.
skinwalker, you bring the wrath of the skinwalker down on their tribe. You talk, and they just don't want that trouble. They don't
Yeah.
want it at all.
So I'm looking at the comments in the chat for really quickly. Nick, I'm sorry. I just want to kind of go through the chat here and say hi to all my peeps. Hey, Sandra, Miss Jean, Uncle Bones, Anthony. Good to see everybody. Who else is in here? I saw Matt in here, and I saw Connor in here, and I saw Eric from Paranormal Highway. I do have a question from someone in the chat for you, Nick. It's from Eddie Rodriguez, and his question is, um, oh, I'm sorry. Are the dogmen nocturnal, or when does it prefer to hunt?
Well, we've had sightings during the daytime, but most of the sightings and encounters have been at night. I have to say, like 90%, if not more, throughout the country have been at nighttime. So they are nocturnal. They're not dumb creatures, just like Sasquatch is not a dumb creature. They do have some form of intelligence that we know of from reports.
Mhm.
if you're reading thousands and thousands of reports, if I have over 23 years, you'll gather that they do know survival. They rather be out at nighttime because that's when they hunt. They sleep mostly during the daytime. Now, if they're in a pack or whatever, they're in a cave, they're in a burrow, or in some sort of a tunnel area, and that's during the daytime. Because most of my reports that I've ever read uh, is during the nighttime. That's the majority of the reports. Now,
Mhm.
Sasquatches and so is shy. I mean, I've read more reports of them being during the daytime. But then again, that's Sasquatch, and they have their own thing, and Dogman does his. And like I said, they're out looking for food at that time of the day.
Interesting. Does anybody else have any questions? If you could just put them in caps for me, that helps me see them. I'd appreciate that. Let's see. Barb Santee is in here. We've got Ida. We've got Cryptid Hunters of Florida. Um, thank you guys, Miss Sharon, Miss Dina. Wow, everybody showed up tonight. Thank you guys so much. I was so excited when Nick actually, when I like invited him to come on my show, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, no problem." Like I'm like, I was so excited. I first saw you on Spaced Out Radio. That was the first place I saw you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, this guy is awesome. I love how you're you're not out there hunting. You're out there investigating. You're doing serious investigations. And I think that's lacking in a lot of areas in a lot of these subject matters. And I have so much respect for you, Nick, that how you go about it and your commitment to this and helping people. And it's just and I'm telling you, I'm so honored to have you on my show.
Well, the whole thing is, I do it for the love of cryptozoology. I don't do this like a lot of other so-called. I don't even. I'm not going to call them cryptozoologists. They're just trying to make money, and that's it.
Yeah.
And they're really hurting cryptozoology. As I've said on other shows, my mantra is to prove or to disprove that these cryptids exist. And
Yes.
I've disproven to my own satisfaction about three of the cryptids out there. That's to my satisfaction. Through
What 3 of those? What 3?
Jersey Devil, Mothman, Chupacabra. I've done a lot of research on them. I've actually seen what they're supposed to be in real life, and it's satisfied me at least. I've seen what the true animal looks like.
Mhm.
Like I said, to prove or to disprove, and that's the reason why I'm out there. I'm not out there to make money. Um, my membership asked to have hats, so I made up hats, and between postage and putting them in boxes and sending them out, I wound up losing money. So I charge them exactly what I pay for plus postage. Patches, I was giving them away for free at one point, and then I had to have them remade, and unfortunately, the patch maker doubled their price. So I had
Oh my
a
gosh.
so I had to charge a couple of bucks for postage and putting them in an envelope and and writing it out and labeling them and sending them out. But I don't make a profit on this. I make my own. I make a living, and I make a super good living on my own. I don't need to make money by doing cryptozoology. I do this for the love of the science.
Yeah.
Just like another individual, I want to mention him, Josh Turner from Paranormal Roundtable.
Mhm.
Does not make a penny off of cryptozoology or his show. Any kind of money that he makes that comes in, he puts it back into the studio. And I mean, you're running a studio right now, and you can imagine how a full blown studio, how much that costs money, to run. So
Lots.
he does it just from, he takes if he takes
Yeah.
money, it goes right back into it. And he's the most generous guy in the world. So Josh Turner, my hat's off to you. I mean, he was a wonderful guy. In fact, if you wouldn't mind, in on August 12th and 13th in Paris, Texas. Paris,
Yes.
Tennessee. I'm thinking Texas because that's where Josh is. Paris, Tennessee, but there is a Paris, Texas, people. Paris, Tennessee will be the first Dogman and Cryptid convention, and there'll be
Yeah.
15 cryptozoology people
Yeah,
there.
what's the line who's the lineup? Who are all in the lineup? I saw the advertisement, but who's in the lineup?
Well, I'll be there, and Jody Cook and D.A. Roberts. Josh Turner will be there. Lyle Blackburn. God, there's a couple other authors that are going to be there. There's just if you go online, you'll have the names of them all. I'm sorry, Marty, but my
That's okay.
is always into reading. Microfilm, microfiche, books. Going into little bookstores, and I don't remember names of a lot of people, but those are some. Oh, Nick Redfern. I want to mention Nick. He's a big author, but he's also, people don't realize, but he's also been all over the place, doing investigations. So he's another person that's going to be out there.
That's an all-star lineup. You can't beat that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
12th to the 13th. The 12th is VIP time.
Mhm.
It's a double ticket that you'd have to purchase. And the people that go will have dinner with us, and they're going to get all kinds of swag and other things to take.
That's
And
amazing.
anybody that actually comes to it is going to get something for free. So their $30 ticket's going to pay for more than just entry into there. We're going to have. I'll be one of them. We're going to have a panel out there at one point of the day. We're going to have speakers. Hopefully I'll be out there to speak. I'm going to be demonstrating a lot of the equipment I take out there with me.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm dying to hear I want you to talk about the kind of equipment you take with you.
Well, one of the big things, just remember, two is one is none. And you always want to have two of something that's really important. I don't take just two flashlights. I take around four flashlights with me, sometimes five, because I go out at nighttime. If the
Mhm.
cryptids are coming out at night, when are you going to find them? It's at night. So most of the time I'm out at night. If I go out in the daytime, it's to make footprint casts or to photograph slash marks on a tree, stuff like that. That's the daytime. But mostly we're out at night. So I do have a ton of different flashlights. One on my helmet. I have a combat helmet that I wear.
Mhm.
I'll have one on my vest, and I'll have them in my pockets, and maybe in a pocket in the vest. I'll have it in my pants pockets. Flashlights. You need light when you're out there. You don't have light out there, you're just dead in the water. These people that go out there with a cell phone flashlight, they're crazy. I'm sorry, your cell phone's going to die, and then what are you going to do?
Mhm.
You can't even call
Mhm.
anybody for help. But we all generally have a GPS unit, a global positioning unit that you can hit a button and it'll put out an SOS if you're injured, or maybe you fell down and you broke a
Mhm.
bone or whatever. You got bit by a snake. Remember, there's a lot of things out there that can harm you. Not just a cryptid, a mountain lion, a bear, a coyote. All three of those things will attack a human. A snake, a poisonous spider, even though it won't kill you, it'll get you sick. You get bit by a snake, you gotta keep that person calm.
Yeah.
You really gotta keep the limb stabilized, and you got to get them out of there to a hospital. If it's a venomous snake, they're going to die if they don't get the anti-venom.
Right.
So anyway, global positioning unit, it's a must when I go out there at night, because we don't just go, you know, 50 or 60 feet into the forest. I'm about
Mhm.
3-4 miles into the forest. And, if you get hurt back there, you need to get back. We do have water. We do have portable food. We do have ways of making fire, many different ways. I would recommend people, if you don't know how to use, regular fire making tools, I would say go buy yourself a pack of 5 Bic lighters, put them in a Ziploc bag individually, and put them in your backpack, in your pocket, here and there and everywhere. Defensive equipment, because I need to think outside the box these days, and like I was discussing with you, Marty, Dogman and Bigfoot may not just be physical cryptid creatures here on Earth. They may thinking outside the box, I got to say, they may have come through a portal.
Yes.
It's possible an alien race put them down here as their foot
Yes.
soldiers to check out the Earth.
You're preaching to the choir.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's possible because, like I said to you, my
Yep.
saying is always, well, where the footprint ends. You're following Sasquatch footprints to the middle of a field, and
Yep.
there's no more footprints. He didn't jump into a tree or she or whatever because there's no trees
Mhm.
around. Where did it go? He didn't backtrack because the dermal ridge can never be perfectly set up again. And
Mhm.
besides, why would they want to do something like that? I mean, it just doesn't make sense. As you said, common sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Common sense.
do it. Either they went through a portal or they got sucked up into a spaceship. That's my thinking these days.
Yes. I
20,
love it.
23 years ago, when I first started with cryptozoology, I would have never thought about that. But I got to think because all the research, all the people I've spoken to, everything I've read, I mean, all everything between
Yes.
book research and paper and being out there in the field, it's like, where did they go? You know, it's like, where? Up, through, where? It's possible that there are other dimensions. Remember, the human eye only sees 10% of the light spectrum. I could have somebody right next to me right now that I don't see and maybe can't touch, and they can't touch me, but it could be part of the light spectrum and I don't see them. So 90% of that light spectrum is unknown to us. Who knows? Where did they go? So that's where I'm coming from with that. So while I'm out there, I also have bear spray because bear spray for me has taken out bear and gotten them to run away. I mean, I've seen a brown bear get hit with bear spray. Bear spray, by the way, goes out in a conical spray. It's not a straight stream like regular police uh, pepper spray. That's oleoresin capsicum. This is a conical spray, and it shoots out, depending on which brand you get, anywhere from 25 to 36 feet. I carry the one that goes 36 feet, and I get 7 shots out of one. And if you do get bear spray, people, learn how to take the safety off and learn how to spray it. Doesn't mean you have to spray it, but just go through the motions so you know how to use it. Now, I carry it right here on my vest. It's clipped here. Take it right out, and bam, I'm ready to go. I've seen it used on an alligator when I was on a protection detail down in Florida,
Did
and
it work?
it worked on the alligator. Now, mind you, an alligator is like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. The hands are here. It
Right.
can't reach the snout. It was doing this. Let me set it up for you just real quick. I won't waste your
Yeah.
time with this. We were
I'm
doing.
interested because I'm, being in Florida, like,
Oh, that's
yeah,
right. That's right. You must see them.
yeah, all the
Anyway,
time.
we were all the way down South Florida, the part that can go over to the Keys, and
Mhm.
near the Glade area. A park ranger was giving a tour, and attached to the tour was a camera crew of 4 people. We were there for protection of the camera crew. Park ranger goes, "Oh, nothing ever happens. Don't worry. I'll get everybody out of here. No problem." Okay. Well, he got a little bit too close to the glade over there, to the water, and it turns out to be about an 11-foot alligator. This thing, Marty, I don't know if you ever seen one.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
the head was this wide. I never saw one for real until that day. It was this wide. It was an 11-footer.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Anyway, it came right out of the water and it came at him. And he's backing away, and he trips. He rolled. I mean, I give this guy a ton of credit. He rolled. He took out pepper spray and he shot this thing right in the snout. It stopped dead. It then tried doing this, trying to reach its snout. It couldn't do that. It did a death roll on the land, trying to wipe the offending pepper out of its nose. Now remember, an alligator, even though it can't see great, it does have eyes, and it does have
Mhm.
a snout, and it does have pores, and it got right into its mouth too. This guy,
Wow.
one heck of a shot, I'm telling you, from his back. We were ready to shoot the thing, but he hit it already. and people were running and falling over themselves. He saved the day, actually. This thing kept doing a death roll, and it rolled right into the water and splashed. Um, I've had
Wow.
personal experience seeing two hunters hit a grizzly bear full on because it wasn't bear hunting season. They were out in Oregon. They were hunting elk. They hit it dead on from about 30 feet away, and it stopped a grizzly bear right in its tracks. I've had personal, within 20 feet, experience with the regular pepper spray, a police pepper spray that shoots just a regular stream.
Mm-hmm.
I was up in a hunting stand, a deer hunting stand with a buddy of mine who was so proud. He just bought this metal stand that he put into a tree 22 feet off the ground. He got it from Cabela's. He set it up the day before. He was deer hunting with a bow and arrow. We're sitting up there, 4:30 in the morning. He had went and gotten some breakfast from a McDonald's previously, like the day before. He nuked it, took it with him, put it in one of those hot bags, with the aluminum in it, because I didn't notice the smell at first. So I'm looking around up there with him, and he's telling me, yeah, the deer are going to be coming out from over there about 5 o'clock. He's kicking back, and he's eating a sandwich, an egg McMuffin, a sausage egg McMuffin. Do you know how pungent that is?
The smell. Oh my goodness.
All right, not 5 minutes goes by, but a black bear came out of the forest area that we were in, right out into the clearing, because his stand 22 feet up in a tree, a nice solid tree, and we're sitting there and we're seeing this, and I'm going, we are in trouble. I don't have a firearm. He doesn't have a firearm. He's got a bow and arrow for deer hunting. You hit a bear with that, and you
Oh
don't
my
kill him the first time. He's going to tear you apart because you anger a bear, they're going to hurt you. It was a black bear, a New Jersey black bear. So the black bear smells this, starts climbing the tree. Bears can climb trees. Real
Mm-hmm.
good. He gets about 10 feet up, and I hit him with the pepper spray right in the snout. I almost emptied half this thing right in his nose, went right up the nose cavities, in his mouth, on his eyes. He drops 10 feet to the ground, Marty. Marty, it didn't hurt him in a bit, not in the least. 10 feet. This thing probably weighed about 450, 500 pounds. He looked to be like a teenage bear. I mean, it was the fur was beautiful. He hits the ground and he's pawing at his face and he's rubbing his nose in the grass and he runs off. I guess he ran off for the water because I guess he had a sense, maybe this will help. But what I'm trying to get at is people, pepper spray does work. Now, I've yet to be able to use it on a Sasquatch or a Dogman, but if it growls and if it eats, as I've seen evidence of and have reports of, then it's got to have eyes. It's got to have a nose. It has to have a mouth.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you, I've got two full-blown bear sprays with me, plus the small pepper spray, and I'm going to be spraying that till the cows come home. But that's not all that I bring. Like I said, I've had to think outside the box
Sure.
because maybe it's not portal, maybe it's not dimensional, maybe it's not alien, maybe it's paranormal. In that case, I also carry white salt, black salt, holy water. You never know what you're going to come up against if you're in an
Yeah,
area that's dark and whatever. I mean, I've
exactly.
come across houses in the woods that are abandoned. And of course, like silly creatures that we are, we had to investigate the houses. And you never know what's in there. And most of the time we find snakes and spiders. And once we found a wolf spider that was about this big. And I'd say it was about the size of a bigger than a softball with all these legs and these eyes. You wouldn't believe this.
That's the one thing I can't do. I can handle bugs, lizards, you name it. All kinds of everything. You get a spider in my car, forget about it. I'm pulling over. I'm calling somebody else. I'm going to call you. I'm going to call you to come and get the spider out of my car, Nick, I swear. Next time it happens to me.
Usually
I
with
don't
spiders, you just smack it, and that's it.
spiders are not my thing.
I'm going to tell you, I'm gonna, because I study zoology, like I told you beforehand when we were backstage.
Yeah.
You got to know what a real creature looks like. All of them, as many as I can study, I study. But I've got a bachelor's of science degree in that, in zoology. Working on a master's right now, and it's tough.
I can only
Between
imagine.
investigations and reading and all this other stuff, I'm trying. I'm really trying. But I want to give you a bit of information about spiders. They're very fragile, and uh, say a black widow spider, for instance,
Hmm.
if you dropped it from 3 feet and it hits the ground, you're going to injure that mortally. You're gonna hurt it. It's going to die. So they're really easy to kill.
I'm
Um,
gonna remember that the next time.
what you got to be glad is that you don't live overseas. Now, overseas, like in Indonesia, they not only have Komodo dragons, but they have a thing called a coconut spider.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know if this does it any justice, but I'm going to back up. But a coconut spider is about this big. The head and then the arms. It is gigantic. And get this, Marty, they drop down from the trees. They
And
literally,
where is this? Because I'm never going. But where is it? So I know.
Indonesia area,
Okay, I'm never going to Indonesia. No.
overseas. It's overseas.
Mm-mm.
That's where the Komodo dragons are. And
Yeah.
they love to chew on young Florida ladies like yourself.
I think I'll stay here in South Florida.
Yeah, you only have the rougarou to deal with and the giant alligators and the skunk apes and things like that. Maybe a
Yeah.
chupacabra or two.
Yeah, Chupacabra.
But while I'm out there, also I carry um, not real flashbangs, but these are electronic flashbangs. They're little orbs,
Hmm.
smaller than a baseball, and they emit about 165 decibel screech, and they emit 120 in flashes now, 120 lumens of light. Now, a lot of people, if you flash a light at them real quick, I shouldn't say a lot, but some people, if you flash a light at them real quick, it disorients them. And a lot of people, there's something in their brain that switches, and it could really hurt them bad. So, in any case, I got to be careful with these. They're
Sure.
little orbs, they're balls. I carry about usually three of them in a side pouch on my leg.
Hmm.
I can activate them, press of a button, 3 second delay, I throw them out. So if I have a threat coming at me, I'm going to throw those out there, all three of them. And I do have six other people with me, and they can throw theirs out there also. We'll recover it later because the light stays on after it flashes for about 25 seconds, and
That's so cool.
it screeches really loud. And I was
No,
wondering, oh
we
yeah, this is something else I take with me. It doesn't look very, you know, threatening, but it's a 146 decibel whistle. I don't want to blow it now because the neighbors would probably go nuts on me. I live in a townhouse.
Where
But
do you find something like that?
you can actually buy this here off of Amazon.
Oh, okay.
And they have high decibel whistles out there. And this, if I blew this whistle right now, you'd probably want to take off your earphones because you
Wow.
would really, really, really be hurting.
Well,
And
see,
it,
now that's something simple that anybody could take out, right? I mean, you
yeah,
know,
they take that
that's
with it. And the reason I take it with me is like the electronic flashbangs. When you throw them, that'll disorient something. I'm hoping it'll disorient an animal or a cryptid or a dogman. The whistle is good. Their ears are 45 times as sensitive, more sensitive than ours. Just like a dog, a German Shepherd, for instance. You blow that whistle, that's going to be part of your defense. So you can imagine you're squirting the bear spray out there, you're throwing the flashbangs if you have them, you're hitting the whistle if you don't have them. So you're hitting them here, here, and in their nasal passages and in their mouth. Even if it's a mountain lion, you hit them with the bear spray, that's going to cause it to run. You hit them with this, it's going to cause discomfort for them because of the high decibel range. You really need to get above 136 decibels to really start affecting them really bad. So
yeah.
that's some more stuff. Yes, I do go out there with a 308 rifle. Yes, I do go out there with a 10 millimeter Glock pistol, 200 grain bullets. Anything under that, just remember something. And the reason why I say 200 grain bullets is because if it'll take down a bear, a brown bear, which is ginormous, really big, it'll take down a dog man and most likely injure a Sasquatch. Um, Reason 200 grain bullet is because the 223 round, which is maybe at most, you can probably get 120 grain bullets. They're not very big, they're small bullets. I don't condone going out there hunting, but if you have to defend yourself, you might as well do it 100%.
Right.
A dog man being 7.5 feet tall in the 800 pound range is going to have bones that are about this thick. Now, when I do this, this is about 3 inches thick. A Sasquatch being maybe 10 feet tall, 11, 12, 13, 15, it's going to have even thicker bones. If you look at bones on a bear, you're going to see a bear's bones are thick. Plus, a bear has about a good 4 to 5 inches of muscle and another 4 to 5 inches of fat. You have to pierce all of that in order to do any damage.
Yeah.
So I mean, you go out there with a 38 caliber, revolver, and you put 6 rounds in a dog man. He's going to be saying, a little here, a little there. Go ahead.
Mhm.
If that's all you got, come on.
Well, we do have another question for you from the chat. It's from Jean Hudson, and she says, "As a researcher, Nick, you have to be you've had to have heard it all. And what is the sighting or the report that you can't forget?"
The report that I can't forget is Lockett Ranch.
Oh
Uh,
my gosh, I just saw something on that
uh,
this morning.
yeah, that's down in the south. I guess it's Mississippi, and they did a year-long losing battle to a tribe, I guess, of dogmen. Now, D.A. Roberts and I are looking to go to Alaska to search out that town that was terrorized by, and it's now vacant, terrorized by Sasquatch. We're also looking to go to Mississippi to Lockett Ranch. And we think we have a good idea where it is because it was never sold. They tried to sell it,
Mhm.
and the night that they were, I mean, after it was all over and the people from Lockett Ranch moved out, uh, 6 months passes. They tried to sell the place, and there was another dogman attack there. Now, I mean, these people put on a year-long battle because in the early 1900s, people just didn't give things up easy, and they carried guns all the time, and they just had to because they got attacked, and that's just one I can't get over it. I really want to go there, and I do want to check it out.
Yeah, Jessica Jones. I don't know if you've ever seen any of her shows, but she's she has one that she does remote viewing, and last night she remote viewed that siege at
Mm-hmm.
that ranch. Interesting stuff. She also did a remote viewing session on the port. What is it? Port is it Portlock or Port Chatham?
Or Chatham in
Port
Alaska.
Chatham.
Yeah.
Yeah, she remote viewed that incident as well. I, just like the area and the place and like what happened, right? The mystery behind it. So yeah, you've got to watch those, Nick. They're riveting, actually.
Was she able to get back into the date and time of one of the attacks?
She did. She said that because when she does the remote viewing, she sometimes puts herself like, she feels what they felt when they were going through these kinds of attacks. And yeah, I don't think it's a very easy thing that she does. Takes a toll, I would imagine,
Oh, yeah.
seeing things like that. She also did a remote viewing of the incident at the LBL, and
See, you're reading my mind now. I was just going to mention.
yes, she remote viewed that as well. You've got they are every single episode that she does is it amazes me because even sometimes, people think that it's a dog man or maybe it's a Bigfoot that did it or whatever. And it's kind of cool to hear her sharing her data and then finding out, oh, well, was it a dog man or was it a Sasquatch that did it. It's really interesting. It's great. I love it.
Do
You
you
got to
recall,
check her out.
do you recall what she said about the LBL? Because I actually went there a few years back, and I was
Uh-huh.
able to speak to the daughter of the lady that owned the luncheonette, where two of the sheriff's officers came and sat down on a particular bench right in front of the luncheonette way back when. And she was just a young girl at the time, but she remembers her mother speaking to these two sheriff's officers, and they had just come from the massacre, as they called it. It was a bloody. I mean, I don't even know if they were still sheriff's officers after that. It just took them back so badly.
Yeah,
But
she said that it was dogmen. She said 2 to 3 dogmen, and that yeah, they that the mom put up a really big fight
yeah,
trying to save her daughter, and
right.
yeah, it was. You have to go watch her show because I mean, she goes into that there was a cover up and all that conspiracy theory type stuff, which
It's
I
Jessica
I think
Jones.
happens all the time. Yes, Jessica Jones,
Wrote that down here, and
the cryptid huntress
Cryptid
is
Hunters.
is
Okay.
her channel, and she's also with she's kind of under that Texas front porch umbrella with Bigfoot Michigan Rob, and it's it's really amazing.
Yeah.
Remote viewing is definitely I believe in remote viewing 100%. I think it's 100% real.
From what little information I could get from that, evidently there was hair under the mother's fingernails. The little girl was found in a
I,
tree over
yeah.
200 feet away, in a tree, mind you. And some people like to say, oh, it probably was a mountain lion. A mountain lion could not have torn off the husband's arm like that. It was not, it was black hair under her nails, from what information I can get. And a
Mhm.
mountain lion, even though it does carry its prey up a tree, the little girl would have been a little bit too heavy for it. And she was just draped over one of the tree branches. And that poor sheriff's officer that found her,
I can't imagine. She
uh,
was very young. I think she was like 4 or something, right? 4 or 5. She was little.
exactly. So people say,
So
oh, a bear could have done it. I say, no, that's not the modus operandi of a bear. Oh, the
so
mountain lion. No, not the modus operandi of a mountain lion either. Sorry. And a coyote's too small, But anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, no, I wanna talk a little more about the LBL because I know a lot of people are, they research Sasquatch there, and I th you will never catch me at the Land Between the Lakes. That is a
Oh, come on.
scary, scary, creepy place.
I put pictures on my site when I went there. D.A. Roberts and I were there at nighttime, deep nighttime. And I want to mention for your viewers how it felt at nighttime. We went during the day, we went in the afternoon, we went in the mornings, we went at night. And at nighttime, it the canopy is such that it kind of kills off all moonlight, because the trees are high and they're grown in.
Mhm.
And it felt like an oppressive, crushing feeling there.
Mm.
I actually felt it, like it didn't want
Yeah.
there at night. This is our time. During the daytime, there were people down by the water. We would see campers. We saw like 3 or 4 campers in one road. We went down all the roads we could. I have a H3 Hummer. It's an all-wheel drive all the time with thick tires, thick treaded tires, that is. And we were going over nasty roads and good roads and all over the place. Any place we can go to find any kind of uh, information or indication that there was some sort of a dogman, or a creature there. And don't you know, Marty, on the last day, we went there during the daytime. We went searching around. And on our way out, I've got excellent peripheral vision. I see something on the side of the road near a tree, but I'm driving, And Diego, stop, stop. I must have went another 10 feet. I jammed on the brakes. I backed up. He's going back up, back up. So he got a full-on view of a large black creature, way over 6 feet tall, more like 7 feet tall. And black bear go usually 6'2". So this thing was very tall. I saw something, but I'm figuring maybe it was a shadow. And I'm looking straight ahead and I'm looking side to side. He saw it dead on, and we pulled up. We both got out of the vehicle. And at one point, he's looking at me. I'm looking at him. He goes, you have anything on you? I go, no, it's inside the vehicle. We had no firearms. What the hell are we doing out here? Why are we chasing this thing? It's right by the side of the road where it was seen, and it went.
Oh my God.
Leaves are not picked up by the forest rangers or anybody doing the lawn there. Mm-hmm. Leaves are about 12, 14 inches deep when we stepped into it. And as we kept going a little bit, about 3 feet off the road, we see that the angle of the land was going down at a steep decline. So we're like, whatever this was, it took off. And we could see where it was all disturbed. But we're not going after this thing. First of all, it would have been dangerous to try to go down that incline. Mm-hmm. With all the trees, the slipperiness, we don't know what's under there. There's snakes, there's other things. And whatever this creature was, I don't know. But it was the last day we were there. It was absolutely amazing. When we were there at nighttime, only one time did we actually believe that we saw something, moving. And it was like here. And then a few seconds later, it appeared there, and there was about 150 feet away. So either this was a Galaxy-class sprinter, wow, or it was something, but I can't tell you what it was. But I got to tell you, in late August, it's generally the wrong time to go because there are more bugs attracted to your light than anything I could tell you about. I mean, that just interferes with the investigation.
Well, when you're out there investigating, Nick, I'm sorry to interrupt you. I just came to my mind and I don't want to forget. I want to know, when you're out there investigating, I mean, do you ever feel like you and your team are being stalked? You
have a sense that there's something out there. Mm-hmm. Now, whether it's a bear or it's deer, or depending on what state we're in, it could be elk. God forbid it's moose, because those things are giants and they're dangerous. Coyote, a coyote will think nothing of attacking a human. We do get the feeling that there's something out there. I mean, we don't go out all the time when it's raining like we did the last 2 Saturdays in a row. I mean, that's really a bummer. I'll tell you, we started out during the daytime, and as it got darker and darker, and it just kept raining and raining. I mean, I can still hear it. It's raining. It's like, what's going on here? I never get a good time here in New Jersey. I go to other places. It's just hot, full of bugs, and it's nice and dark. However, but yeah.
Well, where are most of the reports, the Dogman reports, coming from? Are they Bible Belt area? Like, I mean, I'm not sure.
I have to tell you, they're throughout the whole United States, but I was discussing it with Jody Cook about 5 months ago, and I was telling him about the different reports I was getting and which states they were coming from, and they were all in the Northeast.
Wow.
I mean, not every single one, but the reports that I was getting, maybe 200 reports, all in northeastern United States. So for the past, I would say, 7-month period, I've been getting crazy reports. And I don't mean just Dogman, bipedal canine. I'm talking about Sasquatch reports. I had a couple of reports on Mothman, which I couldn't understand, because if anything, a migratory path would be from West Virginia on a straight ley line straight up to Wisconsin, Chicago area. Mm-hmm. And like if you want to get back to it, you asked me before of other things that I've proven to myself were not cryptids. One of them was the Jersey Devil. I had been investigating the Pine Barrens for well over 6 years with a full blown team. And I mean, we're out there for 18 hours at a clip. And I finally was able to see a dead so called Jersey Devil. And anybody that wants to look it up, the last interview I was on, a gentleman did, the fellow who interviewed me, he brought up the, I'm going to tell you what it is. It's a horse bat, a horse bat. Now, we met a man who owns about 40 acres out there in the Pine Barrens, and he saw us out there and he asked us what we were doing. And I told him, we're doing cryptozoology work. We're looking for the Jersey Devil. And he goes, come on, I want to show you something. And he asked me if I knew any circuses that would purchase something that was unusual. And he wanted to show it to us. He wouldn't let us take pictures, but he showed me a dead horse bat. This thing was from the feet all the way to the head, about 3.5 feet in length. Now, the one that the last person that interviewed me brought up, this thing was about 4 feet 2 inches. People can look this up. Anything I tell you, you can look up on the internet. It's very easy to find pictures of these things. A horse bat being 4 feet tall, it's got the head of a horse. It's got bat wings and it's got spindly legs, bat-like legs. Mm-hmm. So this is the description that people have been giving out since Mrs. Leeds. Now, there's 2 different stories to that. There was a lady in Leeds town, which was across the river from Mrs. Leeds, where she lived with her husband, and there's Mrs. Leeds. And this other lady that lived across the river, there's another story about her, about the Jersey Devil came from her. But it proved to me, like I said, mantra, prove or disprove, it proved to me that this could possibly be what people have been seeing all these years and decades and decades and decades. It's not the first horse bat I've seen. I've seen 3 different ones in the Pine Barrens, but this is the first time I saw a dead one up close and in person. And I told the man, I says, there's no more traveling circuses that I know of anyway. I don't know about, do you know of any?
I have no clue.
I think he was looking to get $100,000 for it, because way back when there was the frozen Iceman, the fake frozen Iceman Sasquatch being.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the guy tried selling that, and well, that was a fake. Least that everything I've read said it was a fake. But Jersey Devil to me is a horse bat. Mothman, I've been down to West Virginia many times. I've investigated the areas many times, spoken to a lot of people, been in their libraries. The Silver Bridge that fell, supposedly he's a harbinger of doom. If he appears, something bad's going to happen. The Mothman. While I was down there, I saw a 6 foot tall, to my eye anyway, sandhill crane. And a sandhill crane has large eyes, large exterior portions of their eyes that are red, bright red. And then their eyes are over here. And like any animal, they have eye shine. So combine that red that they have around their eyes with the eye shine, and voila, you've got this Mothman. And their wingspan is gigantic, being 6 foot tall. They can fly. Their migratory pattern is from a little bit below West Virginia all the way up towards Wisconsin and Chicago. So yeah, they're seen in Chicago. But I have another idea on that. See, that proved to me that I thought it was not an owl, as they said it was, because at the old TNT plant, where those 2 lovers in Lovers Lane, they were parking there, they saw something there, and originally some people went there to investigate it, and they saw a family of owls there, and by family I mean about 30 of them, and these owls had these big red eyes, But other people claim that they saw the Mothman, like these 5 guys that were digging a grave. They claimed they saw it during the daytime. But what I saw was a sandhill crane, and to me, prove or disprove, to me, that's my cryptid. Uh,
Again, it makes sense, right? Common sense.
yeah,
So,
but some people come at me on other shows and say, "Oh, but Mothman has been seen in Chicago O'Hare Airport, in the city of Chicago near such and such church." Okay, well, I've been to the such and such church on an investigation. I saw something that looked like a Mothman too. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't a Mothman. It was, I don't know what you would call 100, 150 bats, but they all stayed together and they were
yes.
all flying around like this.
Yeah.
All right?
Like,
And I'll be damned, but it looked like a winged creature. But I carry binoculars with me, which is another thing people need to take when they go on a field investigation. Take binoculars or at least a telescope of some sort, 10 power. Scope the area out before you go in. This way, if you see something, you know not to go near it. You see a bear, you don't want to go near the bear. You see a mountain lion, and while you're walking, you can stop now and then and scope the area out. Because now suddenly you have Superman vision and you can see telescopic
yeah.
vision. You can see all over the place.
Yeah.
I also wear, let me see if I have one. Oh, I do. Yay. I'm giving away my secrets.
You're still in your fatigues. My goodness.
Oh yeah. I just went in and I washed off and dried my hair and then I came down. Um, these I wear these out there. Okay, so these are called Walker game ear. They protect your ears when you shoot guns. Okay. And you could turn them on, and now my hearing is magnified by about 36 times. So if you're 100 feet that way and you're walking, I can hear you walking. The only time these blank out, these are called Walker game ears. Here
I
we go.
like those.
Yeah. Now, if you go to a gun range, you put these on. And then right here, you can't see it because it's black, but it's a button. You click them on, click them off. There are 2 batteries in here.
I
And
like those.
yeah, when you're at a game, when you're shooting guns, as soon as there's a bang, it cuts it off and it protects your ears. However, something I discovered is that when I'm out there, I am carrying a rifle and a pistol. And if I shoot that, I'm still going to hurt my ears. I don't want to hurt my hearing. So I wear these full blown, full out, so I can hear something out there walking. All right, Mr. Dogman might be 46 times more of the hearing that I have.
Yeah.
Backed up with this is 36 times. I might be able to hear
It gives you an edge, man. It gives you an edge.
any edge. Now,
Yeah.
here's the first show that I've showed these on.
Cool.
And I just want to give people that little tip. You can use that and you can hear things out there. Use your binoculars. So now suddenly you become partially Superman.
Love it.
What I also wear, well, I got it over there drying out. I don't want to bring it over. It's dripping still. I also wear steel plates on the front and on the back, 12 by 10, bulletproof vest. You never know. There might be a hunter out there and he might shoot. Then again, there might be a dog man out there and he might claw. And if he happens to hit me here, okay, I'm still in the game. But I also carry a very, very large combat knife as a last ditch, because I'm not going to go down without a fight. Might as well. You're not going to run away. You only run away and die tired. Why do that? So I got the bear spray, the flashbangs. I've got the whistles. I've got the firearms, the black and the white salt, the holy water, just in case it's a demon type thing. You never know what you're coming up against. I don't have it here because it's probably drying out upstairs, but I have a multi-laser that I carry with me. It's about this big and about the size of a quarter, battery powered. You flick it on and it shoots out about 500 laser beams. And if something's coming at me, say it is an alien, say it is of paranormal, a demon of some sort, maybe I could disrupt this thing. All right, it's a green laser and I'm shooting it out. And even if it is something physical, if I hit it and it hits the eyes, it's got to do something, because we're talking about a real full blown laser, and it's shooting out all these different beams. I wish I had it down here. I would shoot it behind me, but that would be the best way to show you. I always let me see. I always carry something with me. I carry a singular laser with me. I don't know if you could probably see it right there.
Yeah,
The
I can
single.
see it.
I carry that with me as a single. But this is, multiply that by 100, and that's how many beams are coming out of the other one. It's much higher powered.
So, do you have a member of your team that is maybe a sensitive, medium, something like that, that you can?
No, everybody's an operator.
Gotcha.
We're talking field operations, and I'll only take a full blown team out there when I do have a viable report of a sighting or an encounter. And after
Mhm.
talking to the people, and then maybe investigating the newspapers and investigating the area, speaking with other people in the area, then we will go out, because it's costly to take a full blown team out. The Poconos that I was telling you about, we took two gators with us. Those are 6-wheel gators, vehicles that you can drive in, because there was still snow out there at the time when we were out there. And I wasn't about to have everybody trudging through a foot or 2 feet of snow. These gators have fat tires. They're ATV type vehicles, and I can fit 4 people in each vehicle. So having 7 people, 4 and 3, we split it up. And when we were in the Poconos and we went down there and that, but these are all things that cost money. We had to drag them down there on trailers, park on the side of the road.
Mhm.
They're fully gassed up, and we go out there. Your normal everyday person that's an investigator can't really do that. But they can get a GPS unit. They can get several flashlights. They can get whistles, bear spray, some sort of a flashbang. If they're allowed to carry, they can carry, a firearm. I would recommend, like I said, a 200 grain bullet and a heavier
Mhm.
caliber if you want to do something with it. But have
Gene
something
Hud
to protect you.
It's important, yeah. So we have another question from Jean Hudson. She says, "Oops, sorry, I keep moving my mouse. Sorry, Nick, have you ever experienced mind speak? And if not, what do you think of mind speak?"
It's very much real. My good friend and Sasquatch hunter, Jeremiah Fountain from upstate New York, he's had mind speak used against him. He's also had, oh boy, I lost the. Let me see if I have the other term here. I had written it down. I wanted to mention it to you. Of course, I'll forget the term the minute the minute I want to use it. Right.
Of course.
I've got all these notes here, Marty. It's amazing. I got to put them all in the notebook so I can reread them again.
I'll just take a quick second here and I'll go through the chat really quickly and just say hi to some people. We got
Yeah.
Brian Tucker. Hi, Brian. Walathis. How are y'all doing tonight?
Okay.
I've seen so many people in tonight. Sheila. Hi, Sheila. Hi, Frankie. Thank you guys. Hi, Pyromedic. I hope I didn't miss anybody. I've been riveted to Nick and his stories. I I can't get enough.
I'm sorry. It was a long day, and I was trying to remember this other term, and
That's okay.
I recall what it is. There's two things that cryptids use. It's mind speak, and the other one is infrasound.
Mhm.
And Jeremiah, he has he has been one of the people that I personally know that has been able to experience both, and the infrasound to his detriment, actually, because he got knocked out for a couple of minutes by infrasound. There's Sasquatch in his area, and I
Hmm.
got a little bit too close to maybe a family area, and they knocked him down with that. One time with Mindspeak, they told him just don't come any further. And I've read numerous accounts of Mindspeak where people have been told, if you shoot, we're going to kill you. That's it, plain and simple. I mean, that's what the people reported. And many a time people have reported that. Don't come any closer is another thing on Mindspeak. And it's usually Sasquatch. Sasquatch can use infrasound, like I said, and they did use it on him, and he got knocked out. People have reported being knocked out and knocked down and awoken maybe 10 minutes later and not understanding, where they are or what's going on. You personally, Marty, can experience infrasound by going to the zoo and going to maybe the tigers area. Get too close and have a tiger have its attention on you, feeling like you're invading the area, and the roar that they let out will go right through you. And I'm going to tell you, it's a feeling like you've never felt before. I've been to the zoo in Washington, D.C., the main zoo that they have there that's connected with the Smithsonian.
Hmm.
And they have this giant tiger there. I don't know if it's still there. It was like 5 years ago, but it was still there at the time. And it just did not like when anybody got like within 2 feet of his area. And he let out a roar. And it's like if you could see it, it would be like a hurricane wind hitting at you and went right through you. And you felt it. I'm like, wow, look at this. He's saying, get back, everybody, get back. You don't belong here. This is my area.
Yeah.
Actually feel that. Now, the larger bears, the Kodiak, the grizzly, and the brown bears, they have a roar that they could let out. And it's generally the female that would do that to warn you off, to get you away from her cubs. But the tiger is one instance I can say if you go to a zoo, you can maybe experience it.
Hmm.
And the larger bears. And I can imagine a polar bear probably, with their cubs, they might do the same thing if they feel threatened. Remember though, polar bears, they're really, really big. they're even bigger than our brown bears.
Yeah.
They are up there.
We have a couple more questions. Nate Wilson, his question is, Nick, do you think it's possible that some or many cryptids are actually demonic entities? And if so, which ones?
It is possible. It is possible. Like I said, I can't say nothing is impossible. That's a possibility. Probability, maybe not, but that's the reason why I go out there with holy water and salt and white salt, black salt, and sage. I've pulled out the sage many a time and started burning it right off the bat because we thought something was totally off. I really couldn't say specifically which ones because a lot of people want to say that the Dogman is an evil entity. I don't know because I had a firsthand encounter seeing one, a Dogman, and that's what got me into Dogman back in 2013. And the one I saw was standing there 30 feet away from me, and it was eating. It was eating the hindquarter of a deer.
What?
Oh, you didn't know this, I guess.
No, I don't know how did I miss this, Nick? I don't know.
Well,
Tell it. Get into it. Let's go.
when I was younger, I was into paranormal, spirits, ghosts, and the like,
Hmm.
and demons and stuff. I've always tried to do. I've always tried to prove it, whether it exists or it doesn't. And I even had two different groups that I was a member of during my high school years. And we went to haunted graveyards, so-called haunted houses. We went to places with cold spots. Been able to prove that they're all bunk. I'm sorry, we could never have a spirit appear before us. We can never, we went through graveyards at 12 midnight on Halloween, on Friday the 13th. Nothing. Walked by myself through a graveyard from end to end. Nothing. Cold spots. They turned out to be holes in the roof that just snaked through the house and Just happened to be coming down through a closet and so-called. So anyway, I just gave it up. I'm not saying it's bunk, but I couldn't find anything. So I got into cryptozoology, Loch Ness Monster, the Yeti, okay, the Bigfoot, and the like Champ from up in Lake Champlain, all those type of different cryptids. And over the years, I added on to it as I started gathering books because there's not a lot on cryptozoology out there. But through travel and through collecting books and libraries and reading stuff and speaking with people, that's my biggest source. I've got notebooks upon interviews with people, upon field investigations that I've went at and people I've spoken to. They might be law enforcement, they might be former military, firemen, paramedics, just your Joe Blow from down the street, farmers, all the like. Anybody I could possibly speak to that would speak to me about what happened and the lore of the area. Notebooks full of it. I couldn't really say. People say skinwalkers are demons, but once again, that's why I carry the lasers, the holy water, the salt, and the sage, and the light. Just to
What's
defend.
what's the difference between the white salt and the black salt? Like, what's the significance of the two?
Basically, if one doesn't work, hopefully the other one does. It's a different form of magic. And just like the holy water, you throw holy water on something and it starts to sizzle. It's like, oh no, I got a demon here. Now what am I going to do? I've taken. I hate to say this out loud, but I've taken my blades with me. I carry 3 of them, and I have one that's called Zero Dark 30. Very
I
long.
love it.
It's called a Zero Dark 30 blade. What can I say? And I asked the priest to bless these 3 blades. And he looked at me funny and I said, please, Father. I said, I have a reason. I'm not going to use them on any humans, but I do need these blessed because I do cryptozoology. And he happened to know the terminology. And he told me a few stories about, things about the Vatican. And that's something else to get into at another time, but they've got their secrets too. And I mean, I will have that. So if it's a demon and it's a blessed blade, hopefully this stabbing of the demon will save me. But after I use the holy water and use the salt and I'll be burning the sage and all that, I mean, it's different types. And you asked me if I had a person that's special on my team, and the answer is no, but I did go to one case up in the New England states, and this lady had what we'll call, I found out later anyway, she told me it was a dog man, and it turned out to be a tupla. Now, a tupla is something that you manifest. She was a creative design person that made things for the company she worked for. I'm not at liberty to say the company or her name. She wound up moving to Florida, by the way, and she lives by you. And she was up in the New England states. They had a really beautiful, quaint house, very nice house. And she needed to get a certain character for their advertisement. And she kept thinking about this werewolf type creature. Now, if you know anything of a tupla, and your people can look it up, it is something that the ancient Tibetan monks and the monks of today, they know a lot about, because you can manifest this thing. You keep thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking about it. She was thinking about it for over 45 days. She was drawing pictures of it. She manifests this wolf-like creature, and it actually came into her house.
Wow.
And knocked things over, and she thought it was a dog man. She actually saw one of my interviews from a year or 2 back, and she told me all about it, that it was in her house. And I'm like, in your house? I had 3 team members that I brought with me. I brought a zoologist with me. I brought a couple of people that were mediums with me that were sensitive. And we went there and we checked her house, and she gave us a parlor. They call it a parlor. I guess it's a living room, a very large living room where we could set up and we can stay. We also had the usual paranormal stuff where it's a creature box that you can turn it on and you can tune into them, the different levels.
Mm-hmm.
So we did all this stuff. I even put salt in Gerber baby bottle jars in the corners of the room that we were staying in to keep the the creature or whatever this thing is away, if it was something of a paranormal type
Mm-hmm.
of creature. And as it turns out, we're there and it was late at night and we hear something being knocked over. Oh, I should back up. Before she called, my group, something happened. She and her husband were awoken by some noise one night. She goes running out the door and her husband's like, "Where are you going?" She goes running out the door. She flicks on the hall light and there's stuff all, like, mind you, it's a hallway, but she's got like tables and there's knickknacks on them. They're knocked over. Her kids are asleep. She was worried about her kids. A lot of these things were knocked over. Her kids were still asleep at this time. She sees a wolf-like creature going out the front door.
Oh my goodness.
Immediately runs into her kids' rooms. Her kids are still asleep. They didn't wake up by all this noise. And she discussed it with her husband, and she's told him what she wanted to do because this had been happening again and again. When she was coming, I forgot about this one part. She was coming home from shopping, and she had like 2 double paper bags with all her stuff in. And she's walking, and she sees the creature. And she drops everything and runs into her house. Pops the key in, gets into her house, and locks the door. But after this last time where the creature came into the house and knocked the stuff down, she decided it was time to call people in.
Mm.
I get there and we start talking with her and her husband and what happened and everything. And this is more paranormal than cryptid. To me, it's totally off. And one of our sensitives said, "Listen, I think you're dealing with a tupla." And she goes, "I don't know what we can do." And when we were there that day, something did happen. Pictures were moved. Things were knocked down to the ground in the kitchen. And I said, "This is nothing that we're equipped to handle." I mean, I'll stand out there with a firearm and my flashbangs and my lasers and stuff and salt and get ready to throw the salt on it and everything. But this is not something we can handle. We need to solve this for her and solve it for her right away. She told us the entire story about how she was thinking about this for over 40 days, how she was drawing it. She showed us her sketchbooks, and this is exactly what she's seen. We never got an eyeball on it, but we did hear things being dropped in the kitchen, things being moved. And then the next morning when everybody was out, she said, "Yes, these pictures were moved." Nobody was in the kitchen all night. The kids stay upstairs in their room. They were too young to be wandering around without mommy and daddy. There was 2 children. They didn't do this. They stayed upstairs like we requested. I had the salt in the 4 corners of their bedroom and in the children's room. We burned sage in their rooms and everything. But still something happened downstairs where we were. We didn't burn the sage. I wish we would have. But long story short, one of the sensitive people said, "Look, what we're going to need to do is maybe call in somebody who knows about this." And she knew somebody to call. She called in a lady that professed to be a dyed-in-the-wool, going back all the way into her family tree, a green witch. And she did call herself a green witch. To me, a green witch is somebody that deals with plants and nature. But she was a green witch. And she came down there and she was able to set things up in a way that we had no more. We were only there for another 3 days and there was no more incidents. But she spoke to the lady and she counseled her. And I listened in on this. And she told her, "Listen, you've got to quit this now. You're the only person that can get rid of this creature. And this is a paranormal creature and you created it.
Mm-hmm.
Fight it, not think about it anymore." What she did was she called her boss up and she was taken off the account. She told her boss, I can't get anywhere on this. and she just tried her best. And she showed her how these Tibetan monks, how they can chant and how they can just get to the one. And all you're thinking about is one, 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 and only one. And I mean the word one and it's the symbol one. And that's all you think about. And she was able to beat it. And
That's awesome.
by the time we left, there was no more of it. And I was able to call her one more time, and then after that, that was it. She had a house phone and a cell phone. She gave us the house phone. The house phone was disconnected, and they had moved. And from what I understand, they moved to Florida. And that's the second person with a a problem that decided to move and move to Florida. I don't know what's with Florida, but evidently you don't have anything bad down there except alligators and
Oh, we got lots of stuff down here. People like to joke around and say like everything in Florida wants to kill you. We have,
mm-hmm.
you know, a lot of things.
I give you my experience in visiting a relative, my aunt, uncle, and my two cousins in Florida. And this goes back, oh God, a good 20 years ago. Um, I was staying with my aunt and uncle, and they had a Dutch door. You know what a Dutch door is?
Isn't it the one that's like a half door, like the top?
Part opens, and they got
Yeah.
the two sliding locks that go downwards to keep it, from opening up. They had a wonderful Dutch door. And my aunt told me, she goes, listen, your uncle's at work, your cousins are at school. I have to go to the supermarket and then I'm going to go shopping and do some banking. I won't be back for about 4 or 5 hours. She goes, but do me a favor. Open the Dutch door before you let anybody in or you answer the door. Leave the bottom door locked. And I was saying, why? I'm to myself, why? I'm a big guy. I can handle myself. And she goes, just do me that one favor. Don't open the bottom door. She goes, we've got animals out here. I don't want anything in the house. So I'm figuring snakes. Nope. I hear a bang, bang. And I look out the curtain on the top Dutch door and I don't see nothing. Then I hear a bang, bang. I open the Dutch door and I look right out. I'm looking right and left. I don't see anything. Then as I'm looking, I hear a bang and I see the door shutter. I look over the door. There's an alligator out there. Did you know alligators can climb fences?
Yeah.
Can climb walls. I didn't notice back then. I'm like, what the heck? What do I do now, right? So I went back in and I got this. I noticed your people are gonna think I'm cruel, but I was kind of concerned. I didn't have anything to defend myself with at my aunt's house. I went in there, I had some water I was boiling to make spaghetti for lunch, and I went and poured it on this thing. And then it went away. But Marty, this thing was about a good 7 feet long from the tip to the snout. I'm like, what the heck? No wonder she told me. Now, mind you, their backyard had a nice 4-foot high fence around it, really nice solid fence and everything. But this thing came to the front door where there was no fence. And it's like Avon calling. Everything in Florida wants to kill you. Even the crazy rides in Disney World.
We got a couple more questions. Let's see. Gene Hudson asked, Nick, have you heard a Sasquatch laugh?
Never heard a Sasquatch laugh, but I did try to find Sasquatch in Washington State, Oregon, Northern California, and we went over the border into Canada, British Columbia area. Mm-hmm. I've also been on the eastern portion of Canada, in Canada proper, and in Nova Scotia. And when we went there, not to get off the topic, I'll get back to it right away. But when we went to the northeastern portion of Canada, we were looking for gugway. That's the face eater. Mm-hmm. That's the most vicious of the Sasquatch. What I did hear was like a scream or a cry. It was like a baby's cry. I never got to see a Sasquatch. I did get to see several Sasquatch teepees, where they make stuff.
Mhm.
I did get to see a, I got to say, it was anywhere from 8 to 10 inches around a tree that was in the ground, but the roots were sticking up.
That
Now,
was upside down?
upside down in the ground, and this was upstate Washington, in the ground. I
Mm.
never got to see a Sasquatch. I never got to see any solid evidence of it moving through the woods or anything. People see the dark shadows moving through it. Never got to see that, but I did hear it, and it did sound like a cry.
Hmm.
And we did get to hear, I don't want to say more than five. I want to say three tree wraps. Where they'll get they'll get a tree, a small tree, and they'll hit another tree with it.
Right.
We did get to hear that while we were out there, but that's about the extent of it. I didn't hear any of the voices that people say. They say that a Sasquatch can mimic a female. I've never really read very much where it says they can mimic a male, but a female voice they can mimic, and a lot of times baby crying and screams. But that was the extent of it for me for that. So I really have failed in the Sasquatch area of investigation. But
Mhm.
hopefully, when we go up to Alaska, we might find something.
All right. We also, let me just answer. Nate, you're more than welcome to suggest other, you know, other channels that we love everything here. We love everything. We love the paranormal, we love aliens, we love Dogman, we love Sasquatch,
But
you
this is
name
not
it.
the time to talk about other channels. We're here, and
Yeah, but they
it doesn't.
they sometimes they like to, like put, suggest other channels to other people in the chat. And then some channels don't really like it that people do that, but
No,
on my channel, I don't care because the more information that people are seeking and they're out there and they're get more power to you. Information,
that's what we're
research.
trying to do. We're trying to do that, Marty. I agree with you
Yeah,
100%. We're trying to spread the information. I don't care.
exactly.
I don't care if you go out there and say what I said about field investigations. It might save somebody's life. It might help some people find something, a shred
Exactly.
of evidence.
Exactly.
Talk about evidence, by the way, found evidence and what's happened to it over the years, over the decades. Um, Jody Cook, the founder of the NADP, he's one guy. I can give other names out there of big time Bigfoot investigators and Chupacabra investigators, Mothman, Dogman investigators. They found hair, they found teeth. I mean, Sasquatch hair is a lot easier to find because a lot of times they'll go through fields, and the
Hmm.
fields have fences, and they'll go up over the fence or through a fence, and they'll leave the hair there. People have sent bone fragments, teeth fragments, hair, skin, and blood samples to the Smithsonian. They've sent it to government agencies,
And then
and
it disappears.
they've disappeared. They've never got them, actually. Quote, never received.
I think they're
Well,
magicians because they make everything disappear. It's
it's
insane.
it's amazing that they don't
Yep.
want to tell people anything about anything. Oh no,
Follow the money. I always say follow the money.
that's it. That's it. If you do follow the money, sooner or later you're going to find the source. You're going to find the source. But Jody has sent stuff out. I have sent hair samples out in my early days. I've never done it since. The first year, that was it. I learned my lesson. I insured it. I had it traced and everything. I got a name back. Call the Smithsonian up. Hey, Joe Fatchun got signed for it. I can see the signature, and it says Smithsonian. That's where it was delivered. UPS. Nope, we don't have any such person working here. Jody Cook has
Interesting.
lost samples. Nowadays, what I do, and people can do this themselves too. Like I said, anything I could tell you, you can research it on Google, or you could do it yourself. You can go to a veterinarian that does DNA on your dog or cat, I've had a lot of people in my neighborhood here, and this is where I got it from originally. Went had said, "Gee, I got this dog a rescue, and I wanted to know what it was." So I paid the $275 to the veterinarian, and he told me it's part wolfhound, part pit bull, and part cocker spaniel. Hey, they've got a data bank, Marty, that is worldwide that they draw from. At least the one in my area does. So if I find hair samples and the like, which I have found, and I've given it to him and I've paid out the money, he tells me what he gets back. And unfortunately, with the big, I mean, it's like Interpol. I swear to God, it's like Interpol with their data bank. It's so large. It's larger than a human data bank. Oh, oh you went blank.
Did
Uh,
I?
yeah, you went you went blank there for volume.
That was
Anyway,
weird.
you can go to your local veterinarian who does DNA and family histories, and you could find out if you could find out what your dog was. You could say, "Hey, listen, here's a swab from the interior of my dog. Here's saliva, or here's hair samples. Please tell me what this is." They'll go like this: 275, please. You give,
Yeah, I'm a property manager, and one of the condos that I managed for a really long time, they didn't allow aggressive breeds.
mm,
So if someone came and they wanted to purchase or rent or whatever, then they had to, they had to, if the dog show, they had to give us photos and vet records. And if it was an aggressive breed, or say it was, they would come in and they would be like, yeah, it's a mutt, and it's like, it looks like a Rottweiler, but really it's only, just a Yorkie.
yeah.
Then they would make them go, and they would have to, submit their dog for a DNA test. So,
Well, if you would allow me 2 seconds to speak on that, do we have
sure.
time? Uh, I generally like to get. I've owned a lot of dogs, and I generally like to get them when they're 6 to 7 weeks old, when they're able to leave their mommies,
Hmm.
and I breathe on them. I breathe into their mouths and their nose, and I tell them, "Okay, I'm your daddy now." All right, and I keep them with me, and I train them, and I train them well. My last Roddy was about 165 pounds, and a lot of people would be afraid of them, but totally voice controlled, total voice controlled, or by eye. If the dog's looking at me, I can make a motion. It's the people that make the animal vicious. It's not the animal that is vicious.
I agree with you
You,
100%.
you can get the most vicious dog breed in the world. And I think that comes from there's an African dog breed out there that is big and gigantic and very vicious. And you can get that dog at 6 weeks, 8, 10 weeks old. You bring it up in a family environment and be gentle with it. It's not going to harm anybody.
Yeah.
My Rotties would never harm anybody unless I said the magic word in German or in Japanese.
Right.
Different two different signals in different ways. I taught them. And
That's awesome.
pit bulls, they're the most loving, goofy dogs in the world. I am telling you, they are the most loving,
Yeah.
goofy dogs. But if you train them to be fighters, then they're going to be fighters. The reason
Yeah.
why pit bulls are fighting dogs is because they have a super high pain tolerance. Just like a regular bulldog has a super high pain tolerance. A bulldog is a great family dog because you know how kids will slap and pull the hair on animals.
Mhm.
A bulldog wouldn't care because their pain tolerance is up there at a 10 level, you know?
Yeah.
And same thing with pit bulls, up there at a 10. They don't really feel much pain. But it's the people that do this. And I just feel, I know it's a cryptid show, but I feel bad, you know.
I
I really
get it.
feel bad.
We're good here. You can talk about whatever you want. Uh, Ida Bustamante, she wants to know if you've written any books about your investigations or your encounters.
I have notebooks full of research and interviews and encounters and people talking about stuff and everything I've done out there. I have not written a book.
Why
Josh,
not?
Josh Turner has been on me all the time about writing a book, and it's just, I don't have time to sit down. I'm going to tell you, I mean,
Get a ghostwriter.
I'm
No
either,
pun intended.
nah, I like to give people straight up the way I get things. And one of these days, I guess I will. But
Yeah,
between
you should.
work is usually the mid shift, like 11 o'clock at night to 7 o'clock in the morning. And by the time I get home, I grab some sleep. I got to do regular housework and do laundry and shop and get out there and do field investigations, talk to people. I have 9 sites that I'm an admin in, and I try to help manage for the NADP, for the IDP, and the Quad Coalition of Sciences is another site that I run that I brought forward, and it's like I was telling you, paranormal, UFO, cryptozoology, and regular science, zoology and archaeology, and all that. I mean, that one site, the Quad Coalition, Marty, is everybody comes together and shares what they have, and maybe, just maybe, we might find something out. A
Yeah, that's
UFOologist might come to me and tell me, hey, this is this and this happened, and I might put two and two together, and we might discover something. Um, Something I wanted to bring out for you. I don't know if your audience ever heard me speak, but I did a 6-month research project, and originally it stopped in the 376 interview range. 376 is the number of people I
hmm
spoke personally, either face to face. I went to them. These are people that had a cryptid encounter, either with a Sasquatch or a Dogman. And 92%, and by the way, I stopped it after 6 months, but I kept collecting information. It went well over 650 people that had
Wow.
experience, either a sighting or a full-blown encounter. 92% of the people I spoke with either saw an orb in the sky before the cryptid encounter. This is a Dogman or a Sasquatch, or after the cryptid encounter, or both times. So somebody said that they saw on Oak Road a bipedal wolf running across the road. Before they saw it, they saw a white orb in the sky. After they saw it, they again saw a white orb in the sky. This could be 5, 10, up to 20 minutes later. So here's where I am saying you think outside the box and say maybe not just only cryptid involved, maybe UFO, maybe an alien intervention, maybe, possibly.
Yeah.
But this is 92% of the people that I interviewed or I spoke to, and or had some sort of an email or a text message with, and they're telling me their story.
Right.
So here's a connection. Here's a connection.
Yeah, there's a
Um,
connection. That's why my channel is called the Boss Continuum.
See, I thought it meant Italian grandmother who was going to beat your butt,
Well,
go to bed on time.
that my grandchildren, I'm a nonna. I'm a nonna. And my grandchildren are always saying, "Oh, you're the boss." So I'm the nonna boss.
The Nona boss. There you
Yeah.
go. God, you're getting me hungry. You're as bad as D.A. Roberts and his crew. We talked 1, 2, 3 in the morning, and they're talking about food, and I'm like, people, I live in New Jersey. There's no place open, after 10 o'clock, so I'm
You
dead.
know, I was in Princeton. It was a
Love,
lifetime. I was a lifetime ago, but I was in Princeton for about 3 weeks for a 3 week stretch.
nice.
There is nothing happening in Princeton after 6 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get a pizza.
No.
And you would think it's a college town.
Yeah.
It's like, why is there nobody on this? Nobody's anywhere. 6 p.m. It's all closed down.
Princeton, you can actually feel the brainwaves coming off the smart people there. But
It's
they've got this rule. The college has this rule where they want to keep you on track.
yeah,
And you
yeah,
got to be learning and giving and learning and giving and forget. I mean, don't get
yeah.
me wrong. They probably party like crazy there, but you're right. They roll up the highway, the highway and all the sidewalks. At a,
6 o'clock.
you have to take, what is that, 206? 202 or 206 all the way into one of the towns and go get yourself a pizza or a burger.
It's
But that's
yeah,
crazy.
you gotta go out of town. It's crazy.
I ate at a really good place over there, and I was saying to myself, God, I hope I find it. It's called Tommy's. Tommy's is I guess, a big bar and grill, and
Mhm.
it was fabulous. And I was like, God, I got to come back here because I don't live too far away from Princeton. I mean, it take me about, I guess, 50 minutes to get there, but it's crazy traffic. But they opened up a Tommy's in the town next to me, and it was wild. I'm like, all right, I can go there now. They have fabulous food.
That's good.
But
Gene Hudson has one more question over here. Nick, have you had reports from people who have both Sasquatch and Dogman living side by side? And what are your thoughts on that?
Uh, yes and no, they don't live totally side by side because Sasquatch and Dogman, from all the reports I've taken, they do not play well together at all. They are not allies in the least. But I've had reports of that happening. Um,
Have you
Lambie,
ever had a report of a Sasquatch saving somebody from a Dogman?
I've only read those reports. I've only read those reports. I've never
But
had a
they exist, right?
yeah. That those reports do exist. I've only read about it. I've never had one where a person told me or wrote to me about anything like that. So I can't say yes. But I do want to mention that Land Between the Lakes,
Hmm.
in two states, Kentucky, Tennessee. All right. One part is Dogman and one part is Sasquatch. They stay away from each other. You will
So
have Sasquatch and Dogman in the same states, but one might be northern and one might be more southern. But they do stay away from each other. They do not play well together at all. And that's something I
interesting.
researched that I really did delve into quite a bit at one time, just to confirm it in my mind. And that's everything I've ever read about. Yes. I've spoken to forest rangers. Yes, same thing. Uh, any reports I've ever read, same thing. They stay away from each other, and they will fight if they see each other.
Nick, thank you. Thank you so much. And I know you're exhausted. I know you just got back from your investigation. Thank you. Thank you for hanging out, sharing your stories, giving us amazing information. And it's scientific information. It's not just like, you're throwing out some ideas and some thoughts. I mean, you're very well read, you're very well educated, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for coming here tonight.
Do we have a few minutes left? Because there's something I'm very passionate about that we were
Of
talking about.
course.
All
Of
right,
course.
throw out there missing 411 people. Now the Mr. Biggie out there, I won't mention his name because I don't want him to get his underwear in a bunch. But he says that there's three ways that people go missing. They're out there in the forest of the mountains and they fall in a hole. A known animal will eat them. A serial killer or murderer will get them. I want to take it number four. A possible cryptid takes them. Sasquatch has been known to take people. Dogman, there have many reports where they've been killed and they'll be taken. Number five is the one that we can do something about. I don't know if you can guess what that is. Human trafficking.
Mm.
Okay, now going back about a month and a half ago, one of my good solid members on North American Dogman Project Region 3, she reported to me via Facebook Messenger that she says, listen, check this out on the main feed and look it up. A woman was reported missing. I think she was in her late 20s. Reported missing in Idaho. We're talking about, you know, Midwestern
Hmm.
Idaho. Yes, it goes from here all the way up to Canada, but Idaho, seriously? I thought people were supposed to be like, excuse my French, but good old boys, nice people, country folk, kind. This woman was walking on a trail that my member who reported to me said that she was almost kidnapped a month before that. The reason
Wow.
she wasn't kidnapped is she carries a 45 caliber gun in a holster in her back on her belt when she goes walking in the woods. She goes a good 3 mile loop in the wooded area that we're talking about here. This guy stopped a vehicle near a roadway and started walking in the woods. She noticed he stopped his vehicle out there and started walking in towards her. And she said, "Stop there. Don't come any further towards me." "Oh, no, no, I want to talk to you." He kept walking. She pulled out that 45, and he's looking down the barrel of a 45 caliber. She says, "If you take another step towards me, I will shoot you." And then call the police. He ran. Now, a month goes by, and this woman gets kidnapped, and it was in the news. And I checked it out also, and I sent two of my guys up there to investigate it. We're talking missing 411, human trafficking right in the middle of the United States of America. I might do cryptozoology and I'm out there looking for cryptids, but if I see something bad happening, I'm going to intervene. And that's something I really hold to heart. I think that's a horrible thing that we have going on in our
I
country.
agree.
And if your show reaches people and it makes people talk about it, I hope they do, because this woman was taken and not an trace, not a single trace was of her at all. They must have grabbed her, bundled her up, and put her in a vehicle and taken her, because a cadaver dog can find a dead body under the water. If it's in a river, if it's there, a cadaver dog will find you. It'll find you if you fell down a hole.
Mhm.
It's not going to find you if you go through a portal.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make light of this now, but if there is such a thing as portals and you've gone through a portal, that dog's dead. It'll stop right there. And I want to mention that has happened. Search and rescue dogs have been out there looking for people and they stop dead. And that's as far as they go. They don't go any further.
Yeah. That's interesting.
What do you say to that, Marty? I mean, seriously, I mean, missing 411, there's another possibility. There's two other possibilities out there. But that this human trafficking is horrible. And if you can do anything about it, people, please do.
Absolutely.
Please do. And I take it back over to you, Marty. Any questions you have or anything else you want to do? I mean,
You
we
know,
for hours. I can put a nickel in my ear and I'll keep going.
I Nick, I'm going to tell you, this has been so much fun for me. And when I saw you for that first time on Spaced Out Radio, you literally made my dream come true tonight. You really did. Cuz I saw you and I was like, man, if I ever have a show, I ever do a show, I'm having that guy on my show. And it was amazing. Thank you. From the
Well,
bottom of my heart. Thank you so
I'll
much.
because when I'm in Florida, I'll have to send you a note and we'll have to meet up for coffee.
Yes.
You
You
guys got
know, I'll
terrible
tell
Italian food down there because you use the water that's chlorinated and it's horrible. But
oh,
otherwise, pretty
I
good.
don't I do not drink the water here. I spend a small fortune on purified water bottles. Like always bought like I can't I'm always bottled water cuz I can't take it.
Uh,
It's disgusting.
that
Tastes
macaroni I told you I was cooking at my aunt's house, I got it from the tap. It was chlorinated so heavily that it made the macaroni taste horrible. Oh,
Oh, it does. It does. It changes the taste of the pasta if you're not careful. Oh yeah.
mm,
Yep.
it was terrible.
Um
You got to
I
keep
will
it.
t- you know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do. I have a photo that I want you to take a look at, and I'll tell you. Okay, I'll tell you a little story of mine. Okay, so my son and I we researched together, and I'm not going to call myself a researcher. I'm not a researcher. I'm an experiencer. Honestly, he's the one that researches. I go along. I tag along. I love it. And we were on a trail, and as we were going down the trail, I had looked over to my right on the right side of the trail, and I saw this huge hole that was about 2 feet deep, almost completely circular, and you could tell that something, and it was probably like 15 feet across, all in diameter, this hole. It looked like somebody had something, someone, something had been laying there. But I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, okay, we know that we do have panthers here. So we have panthers, we
Hmm.
have deer, we have hogs, that kind of thing. But I'm like, this is really big. And so we're documenting it. He's kind of, we're measuring it and the whole deal, taking photos. And all of a sudden, his wife was on the trail. We had stepped off the trail. We were about 10 feet off the trail. Honestly, it wasn't far off the trail. So she's on the trail. From the other side of the trail, from the left side of the trail, all of a sudden comes something through a stick and almost hit her. And it landed like right next to her. And we heard it. And I'm like, what? We both looked. We're like, what the heck? And she was like, something just threw a stick at me. And I'm like, okay. So we came out of where we were at, standing in the middle of in the middle of the trail, but we're looking in the direction where the stick came from.
Hmm.
I moved over just a little to my right, and I'm looking, and all I see from here up, it was like I saw him go up a little bit and then really fast down, just
All
straight
right.
down. And it was just from here up. Now that was a Sasquatch, or it was kind of like an
Skunk.
auburn color. Yes, yeah, skunk ape. It was probably about 7.5 feet, 7.5 feet, auburn color, but the skin that I saw was like a light gray.
Uh-huh.
After I got home, I'm going through my photos because I'm like, oh, I hope I got, because I had, I just started snapping photos, like hoping and praying that I was going to catch something.
Right.
I get home, I look at my photos, and what I see in my photo kind of looks like a dog man. It doesn't look anything like what I saw. Now my daughter-in-law was also snapping photos, but from a different direction. She actually caught what I saw. So it was interesting that there were these two creatures there. I seen one. She caught the one I saw actually on film, and what I caught doesn't. It wasn't like some amber color or auburn color. It was black, kind of gray, and it has this snout. And I have a photo of it. Kind of. There were 5 photos in the sequence. He's he's there, like, you see like a profile of him as if he's like looking this direction, and then you see this the next photo is like him looking at me, and then 3 more photos and he wasn't there. It was interesting. I'm not going to say for exact, but when I look at that photo, that's what I see. I'll send it to you so you can check it out.
Oh, I appreciate it. I'll put it up on
Yeah.
my. I have some programs that I could enhance it, and I put it up on a 65-inch screen so that I can really check it out really well.
Oh,
I mean,
awesome. I'll do that.
I've had a lot
I'll
of people send me stuff, and unfortunately, I've had to disappoint them saying, "No, that's not. That's really
Hey,
a
listen,
tree
if
limb."
you blow it up and it's nothing, no big deal. I'll say it on my show. Don't I trust me.
Yeah.
I'm a seeker of truth. That's why I've never actually circulated the photo, and I've never posted it anywhere. I don't if it's not something definitive for me, I don't post anything. I
But
have
you
another.
move at the time, right?
Huh?
Didn't you see something move at the time?
I did, but I didn't see him because I wasn't looking at him.
Right.
He wasn't even on my radar. I had no idea until after I got home when I was looking in my photos for this auburn looking, you know what I mean, creature. Like, I'm not looking for anything that was black or gray. But for some weird reason, when I was going through the photos and I'm looking and I'm like, when I saw it, I was like, I'm like, wait a minute, what is that? It was just like an accident because I was looking for something completely different. And I was like,
Always happens.
wait a minute. I'll send it. I'll send you the originals, and then I'll send you the one that has like I kind of have like a red circle around it. But yeah, I haven't shared that with anybody
That'd
at
be
all
great to take a
because
look at.
I'm not going to put it something like out there if unless I know.
You know, you were talking about the person asked if I wrote books or anything. I,
Uh-huh.
but I mentioned before the director of Region Two, D.A.
Mhm.
Roberts. He's an author. He
He's actually going to be on my son's channel
oh good,
next week.
that's great. He actually goes out there and researches before he does his books, and a lot of his he's had a couple encounters, and he's going to be putting. I'm going to be I'm going to appear in one of his next books. Let's put it that way.
Awesome.
In his book, and it's not telling all, but it's sort of some of my adventures in his book. He's
Okay.
incorporated into his story, so
Good.
that should be good. I wrote the forward
Because
to one of the books,
you
and
you
it was
have a story to tell. You have a story to tell, Nick. Really. I mean, I listen. I love seeing you on all the shows because I mean, anywhere you are, I usually am lurking. I'm always watching. I love to listen to your stories. I can't help it.
feeling I get somebody's watching me.
I'm sorry. I'm really not a stalker. I swear, I'm not a stalker. But it's a fascination, and whenever I'm always in the chat. I'm the crazy one that's always going, "Have you ever seen a dog man? Ask them if they've ever seen a dog man."
That is something, though.
It's interesting. I don't know though. That's the one cryptid I don't think I ever really want to see. I mean,
Well, that's what got me into the
no.
dog man. I never knew what a dog man was until I physically saw something that was 7 feet 7 inches tall, standing near a stop sign up in Watchung Reservation, New Jersey, up in at nighttime,
Yeah.
11:30, 11:34, and it's eating something. So that's what got me into the dog man. I didn't know the term. I thought it was a giant werewolf. I was saying these things don't supposed to exist, but there it was.
Yeah. I mean, when people would talk about dogman and all these other cryptids, it's like I I'm not only a believer in Sasquatch, I'm a knower of Sasquatch. And if I how could I tell somebody, "Oh, you didn't see a dogman, they don't exist," if I'm expecting people to believe me that I saw a Sasquatch? You
I
get,
I actually
and
kept it to myself for many, many years because until I was able to investigate it and speak to a lot of other people and
Mm.
find out what it was and what people were calling it, and that other people have actually seen this. And then in talking to Josh Turner from Paranormal Roundtable, he tells me that he feels it's more of it was a spiritual thing, but I say like in Italian, mezza mezz, maybe half and half.
Men's amends. Yeah.
Because if the thing needs to eat, how could it be fully spiritual? So I couldn't understand it. It was chewing on a hindquarter of a deer. It was actually biting. I saw it actually bite into something. And I find out later that the area is a Lenape Native American Indian grounds where the Lenape Indians used to have their tribe. And not far away from there, and this is information I just got about 3 months ago, there is a burial ground up there. So I reopened the
Interesting.
investigation, and we're checking it out again.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was 2013, so that's quite a while ago. But I reopened the investigation because I don't know what I might find.
Do you have any big investigations coming up that you
Nothing,
can talk about?
nothing so far. We have something going on in Arkansas,
Oh,
and we might have to send a team out there again to revisit. But otherwise, that's the only, and it's a dogman investigation. It's a possibility. Again, we had a team up there a little bit over a year and a half ago, and we thought maybe they had solved the problem, but we'll see.
yeah.
But people could read about some of the stuff I do in D.A. Roberts' books when he comes out. His next one that he comes out, I'll be in it, and He's going to give you some of the stuff in it, and hopefully, when we
Yeah.
go up to Alaska and down to Lockett Ranch, oh, I want to go to Lockett Ranch so bad.
Yeah. You have to do a show on that. You're gonna have to do
We will.
something special on that.
We will definitely do something special on Lockett
Yeah.
Ranch because if they'll
Yeah.
allow us to even go near that area, we're going to be filming the whole time. I'm talking about still pictures, videos, everything.
That's
We'll probably have about 10 GoPros with us because we're not going to want to miss anything.
you gotta promise me you gotta come back on my show and you have to talk about it.
Oh, we'll definitely come back on your show anytime you want. No problem. I mean,
Yay!
we only hit the cusp, just
I
the cusp.
love it.
And I do thank you for allowing me to talk about the 411, the missing
No,
people, because
listen, it's I love deeper conversations. Last week on my show, we spent almost an entire hour or a little over an hour talking about PTSD because that is, for me, that was something super near and dear to my heart.
mm,
And seeing so many people after they've seen, Sasquatch, Dogman, whatever it is that the traumatic event that happened to them, and
yeah,
yeah, and I'm all about getting people help, and we're a community and we all need to stick together and build bridges instead of trying to tear each other down all the time. And it's important that us true seekers stick together so that we can continue to get our messages out there, and the awareness about trafficking, PTSD,
right.
a lot of other deeper conversations need to be had in this community, I think.
We
Yeah.
could definitely talk about,
Yeah.
and I'm not just talking about PTSD from guys that have been in the military or police, but we're talking about PTSD of people that have had an encounter, or have
Yeah.
a sighting, because I've noticed that I'm putting around 10 to 15% of my time counseling people who have had a sighting or, unfortunately for them, an encounter, a full blown encounter.
Yeah.
And just the sightings alone. I mean, can you imagine? I told you I saw a man at the supermarket, 7'2", 400 pounds. He was a sight to behold. But can you imagine a
Yeah.
7 foot 7 inch hairy canine with claws? I mean, you're looking up. I mean, go to a basketball game sometime, people, and stand next to the center or the forwards over there. These
I've
guys are
done that.
6'9", 7 feet tall. They're huge.
I've been to many Heat games where I was in the first or the second row right next to where let me tell you, these guys, you don't you
Big.
have no idea the
No,
size of them from watching them on TV. When you see them in person and you're like, and
yeah,
your
because
head just keeps going up and up and up and up, and you're like, whoa. Yeah.
they're all these big guys together. They don't look that big. But when you're there and you're looking, but I'm talking about these creatures. And people,
Mhm.
please go to the zoo and find where there's a brown bear or a grizzly and see how big these things are. Their feet are about this big. A black bear, brown bear and grizzly hunt black bear. They eat their own kind, their neighbors there, because they're smaller. But because of grizzlies, their paws are this big. They are huge. You don't ever want to come across that. So if you're out there looking for a cryptid, a Sasquatch, a dogman, or whatnot, and you come across a mountain lion or a bear,
Yeah.
my favorite term is, now what's your game plan?
Right.
I've been prepared. A lot of people say,
I'm
oh, I could shoot, the center of the target out at, yeah, but you're shooting at things that are not moving. A brown bear or a grizzly can come at you 0 to 50 miles an hour in 3 seconds. Remember, they're super strong. They're 10 times stronger than a human male that's 200 pounds.
It's
Things are out
crazy.
there. They're trying to kill you, not only in Florida, but in your local forest.
Yeah.
So please, please,
Yeah.
people, be prepared. Have a way to call out and get help. Have a first aid kit, and definitely take food with you just in case something happens and you get lost and you're out there and you
Yeah.
can't contact anybody, and you're out there for 2 or 3 days. After 2 or 3 days, and you haven't eaten anything or drank any water, you start to really hallucinate. unless you're trained, and I'm only going to say trained, not used to something, but trained. Without food or water, you're going to start to hallucinate. You're going to start to lose it. You are really going to start, and physically, you're going to start to deteriorate. It's just something that's so important that you people go out there with a backpack full of real bona fide good stuff and tell somebody that you went out there, by the way, and where you're going.
And go with a buddy. Please don't ever go out there alone, guys.
A buddy, I usually say buddies,
Yeah, buddies. You're right, buddies.
3 people minimum, and don't go away from each other like they do in the movies. How stupid. Please, people.
I don't want to be on a horror movie.
Look at that pathway over there. Look at that tunnel. Let me go in there and check it out. You guys stay. No.
Yeah.
I'm going to check it out. All 3 of you go in there. Have your lights on. And don't be surprised if you get hit by a flock of bats. You know,
Right in the face.
I mean, seriously, put your hands on your face, duck down, and get the heck out of there. And then go take a big shower because you don't want all that nasty bat poop on you because it's full of germs. And by
Oh,
the way,
my son's in the chat joking around. He's saying that he's threatening you that he's going to go alone and sit in a tree in his new tree inside a tree in his new tree stand.
then your mother will put me in her will instead of you because you're out of it now, buddy. I'm sorry.
Listen to Nick.
Something real quick though. People think, oh, we could drink from a stream. No, you can't.
No, parasites.
Not only do fish poop in there and other animals and other E. coli and stuff, but you can
Yeah.
die really quick from drinking from a stream. All you got to do is buy those little, I won't give a name brand, but they're
Right,
all over.
Life Straw? Isn't there one called Life Straw?
I didn't want to say that, but yes, Life Straw is great. It'll take out 99.99%. And if you have an iodine tablet, you can draw it through the Life Straw and drink. But personally, I like to take it from the Life Straw into a container, a clean container, from the Life Straw in through there, and then put the tablet in there and leave it in there for the appropriate amount of time and then drink from it. And by the way, when you do things, you really should have a bandana with you at all times because you can filter water through a bandana. You
That's a
wouldn't
good tip. I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
like that.
you put the bandana, you filter the water through that first, then you disinfect the water. Don't just go in there. You never know what kind of little organisms little tiny fish or bugs might be flying in there. You go through the bandana, and it's like a coffee filter. I carry coffee filters with me besides a bandana because a bandana, if you get cut, you can wrap yourself with it. You can make a tourniquet out of it. I mean, all these things. And learn how to use a tourniquet, by the way. They can be left on for more than an hour nowadays. We found that out without
You
the
know
lid
what?
irritated.
I'm gonna have you back, and we're gonna do a survival, like a survival type of an episode where you can talk about all these things, and we can really kind of, yeah, let's
We'll have
do
to get
that.
together and give you all the questions beforehand. This way we can ask all the right stuff. And I don't want to waste anybody's time. I just want to
You're
give
not
you
wasting anybody's time. You're not wasting anybody's time.
give them
There's
information.
still 20 people here in this chat that are loving this. They are so happy right now. They are loving this.
Well,
Loving it.
just want to let them know that I do all the cooking here, and I have some leftover macaroni that I'm going to hit. Chickpea macaroni, by the way.
Oh,
It's
okay.
good. Oh my God.
Is it good? I haven't tried it yet.
Oh, it's excellent.
Good.
It's 3 times the price, but hey, it's worth it. It's really good. It's really tasty.
That's good.
And,
I'm gonna have to check it out.
if you ever know any Italian people out there that we used to roast chickpeas, and when it's nice and roasted, you chew on those things. They taste so good.
Mhm. They're
Uh,
good. I've had them before.
I have a couple slices of sausage, pepper, and onion pizza upstairs waiting for me, plus the macaroni. So I
Oh,
know it's late. I don't even know what time it is. God, let me see. We're on the same time zone, right? 10:30.
10:30.
Yeah, I could still eat something and not get a bellyache.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. If everybody in the chat wants to stay just a little bit longer and for me to kind of hang out with you guys, I feel so bad sometimes because like I'm so engaged in my guests. I'm like with you, right? So sometimes I kind of let the chat kind of go. to the wayside, and I feel really bad. But I'm going to let you go, Nick. Thank you. And I'm going to
Yeah.
send you those photos.
Oh, great, Marty. Great.
I'm going to send you those. And if you vet it and you tell me, hey, I think it's something, then I'll post it. I'll post it on my
Okay.
channel.
That'll be great. I
Okay.
can tell you what it is if I see it.
Okay. I'd love to know. I'm going to send it to you. Thank you so much.
Fantastic. It's great talking with you, Marty.
We're going to have you back for sure. Thank you.
Bye bye.
All right. Bye bye. Good night.
Good night.
Hey, everybody. Wasn't he a great guest? He was so fun. I enjoyed that so much. I just wanted to spend a little time with my peeps over here for a few minutes, and then I promise I'll let y'all go to bed. I want to thank everybody for popping in here tonight, having such amazing questions. Again, you guys keep amazing me more and more. Like, I love this community. I love the fellowship that this community has. So I just wanted to spend a few minutes. I did have an actual topic of the week this week. However, the interview with Nick went a little long, so I figured that's okay because next week I can definitely talk about it. We'll talk about it next week. My guest is going to be Amber from Amber's Para World, and we're going to talk some paranormal stuff and some investigations that she's been doing recently. And she channeled Patrick Swayze. Like, that's the coolest thing ever. And I can't wait to talk to her about that experience. Anyways, us ladies can appreciate that one, right? So that will be next week. And again, I want to thank all of you. I want to Dina, Jean, Ida, Brian, Mike B, Dina. I'm going to see. I'm going to actually get to meet Dina in person. She's going to be going to the Southwest Florida Skunk Ape Conference in a couple of weeks. And I'm going to see her there. And I can't wait. I can't wait. Her and Barb Santee, she's going to be there as well. And Gary, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. You are such a cheerleader, Gary. You're amazing. Pyromedic, thank you. And Pyromedic, I want to see some of those photos you have. Reach out to me, get my email, the Boss Continuum at Gmail. Email me, boy. Let's get a show set up. I want to see those photos you have. And Matt, thank you. Thanks so much for all your support, technical support, emotional support. Thank you. And my other son Michael has been so supportive as well. I love my boys. I'm a very proud mama. So, did I miss anybody? I think I probably missed some people, and if I did, my apologies. But thank you guys. I want to thank you, and I bless love and blessings to all of you. Have a wonderful night. Until next time on the Continuum.